Hey Paradoxica, hey Banana, how are y'all doing? I'd appreciate it if my chair would stop trying to rotate underneath me. Doing good? Nice. I'm hoping that my audio sounds good. I made some modifications to the pop filter that I bought forever ago that didn't fit my mic arm. You're doing good, Banana? Nice. I made some slight modifications to the pop filter, so hopefully my P's, my B's, and my S's shouldn't like peak my mic like they usually do. They should be coming across clearer now. Yes, today we're starting the Cosmic Turnabout. The courtroom bombing incident. A terrible attack launched by the will of a madman. That incident perfectly symbolized the state of the legal world in this dark age of the law. Mr. Wright brought it to a resolution of sorts. Ted Tone was discovered to be the one responsible for the bombing. Only it were that simple. Somehow, I can't help but think that there's a darker influence at work. One that's lurking in the shadows, waiting. That's why I want to review the trial that was taking place when the bombing occurred. After all, I've got more than a few personal stakes in it. This is pre-brain damage Apollo, by the way.
One hour remaining until launch. Please begin your final equipment check.
Check complete. Everything's A-okay. We're ready here whenever you are.
Come in at 2. Come in. Do you copy?
Time for another trial to begin. This one's different. Sorry to bother you, but... Oh, whoops. I thought this was a different, I thought this was the defendant.
Are you alright, Apollo?
Was I making a scary face just now? Oh, hi, Juniper. Yes, I'm fine. I was just doing my Chords of Steel exercises. Now I'm all ready to go.
Yes, knowing you... Knowing you, I'm sure you'll be just fine. Oh, I brought you a present from my garden.
What is that? Is this a lotus root?
That's right. My grandma says lotus root is good for your eyes. She even says that if you look through the holes, it can help you see into the future. It's for good luck. Maybe later you can cook it and...
Thanks for this. I'm gonna have some right now.
Oh my.
Kinda tough, though.
You can't eat it raw, but thank you for the enthusiastic try.
Oops. She didn't think me weird before, she will now. I gotta calm down.
Apollo, sorry I'm late.
It's gonna take me a bit to get back into the, groove of the voices. As you know, it's been a week.
Hi, Dina. Junie, I didn't know you were coming today. Did you come to cheer Apollo on? Oh, I get it, you sly little thing, you. Athena, stop.
Quit kidding around, Athena. The trial's about to start any second. Is everything all set?
Oh, Apollo, when will you ever figure it out?
Figure what out? Wow. That was the longest sigh I've ever heard. Did I warm up my voice? Kind of? This is it. It's all over for me. They're gonna find me guilty. This is our client, one Mr. Solomon Soul Starbuck. Really? He's a very famous astronaut who happens to be an acquaintance of mine. You wouldn't know it right now, but he's usually a very upbeat and driven person. The scene of the crime this time happened to be the Cosmos Space Center. Back in high school, my best friend and I went there almost a little too much. That's where we met Mr. Starbuck. He'd ask about space travel, and he'd launch into story after story with so much passion. Back in those days, the man was 100% my hero. You sure you're okay with being my lawyer, Apollo? Of course I'm sure. I know you, Mr. Starbuck. I know you're not the type to commit murder. Thanks, but... I'm supposed to be in space right about now. Also, do you like how his head is a robot? Or not a robot, a spaceship? Wow. Brain fart. The red bit on the top is the nose cone, and the red bits on the back are the fins. He's so depressed, it almost seems like an act. Launch getting called off must have been a huge shock. I'll probably never get the chance to go into space again. Don't say that. Don't stop believing. Besides, you just have to go into space again. Yeah, I don't think I could face Clay in the afterlife if I just rotted away in a cell.
Clay Terran. I can't believe he was murdered.
I don't know who Clay reminds, like, what his mugshot reminds me of, but his mugshot reminds me of someone else.
I mean, he was such a promising astronaut under your command.
Yeah, he was a good guy. Always there to pick me up when I was down. This is basically just Phoenix's voice, but with a bit less energy, isn't it? I wouldn't love life as much as him, that's for sure. Always so full of energy, telling me, "You're fine, Mr. Starbuck." Yes, they did in fact call the victim Clay Earth. Yes, Clay Terran, the astronaut. How could something like this happen to a guy like him, huh? Never seen Mr. Starbuck so down. He's gone and I'm going to prison. I wish I could burn up like a shooting star right now. Mr. Starbuck, you'll be fine. What is it? What's with the yelling? I'll get to the bottom of this today, you'll see. And in exchange, I want you to go back into space for you and Clay, promise? I mean, you have lots of evidence to prove my innocence? Nah, Clay and Soul weren't dating, Clay and Apollo were dating. Oh, well, about that. We didn't get to investigate the area as much as I'd have liked, thanks to the police. I'm done for. I'm a goner. Everybody thinks I did it. Well, I mean, you say that you see it, but like, read the description. Victim in this case, he was a Hat 2 crew member and a close friend of mine. Close friend. Thought I was gonna soar like a comet, but I'm just gonna crash like a meteorite. No, don't say that, Mr. Starbuck.
Don't count yourself out yet.
I know it's hard to lose a teammate, but you've got to keep going.
And what about you, Apollo?
What about me?
I was just thinking, wasn't Clay your best friend?
We need to focus on the trial right now. Are you ready to go?
Apollo.
Trial's about to begin. The defense would proceed to the courtroom.
Okay, here we go.
This is it. This is one trial I can't afford to lose. For Clay's sake and our clients, I will find Clay's killer. I don't know why, my tracking always ends up cocked off to one side. I don't know if I just rest with my head cocked off to one side naturally, but it always looks like I'm like leaning off to the side. Court is now in session for the trial of Solomon Starbuck. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Excuse me, Mr. Justice. Yes, Your Honor? What happened to your eye? I'm fine. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Are you sure? I don't... I'm fine, Your Honor. The defense is ready.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. He's been like this since yesterday. He keeps insisting it's just a sty.
I suppose it's something he doesn't want to discuss. Maybe he's entering a touchy age. That's especially funny considering that this is the case where Apollo metamorphosizes into his final form, edgy Apollo. Very well, and the prosecution? The prosecution appears to be ready as well.
Silence.
Not yet. I'm not quite ready yet. For the fourth time! The prosecution is now ready.
Well, it didn't take him long this time.
What's up with Blackwell? Now then, I shall give the opening statement.
Silence.
I'll do it. You will? What an unexpected surprise. This time, I can't leave it to anyone else. I see. Something is off with the two of you today. You both seem different somehow. Very well, Prosecutor Blackwell, your opening statement, if you would. It was just yesterday. The crimes in question occurred at the Cosmos Space Center. Ah, that famous federal research facility of all things related to astrology, right? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you for the expository dialogue. Astronomy. It's astronomy. Anyway, a rocket was sent to launch from there. What, at 9:28 p.m. or a.m. Wow, how did I fuck up almost every single part of that of that time? 9:28 a.m. before they could even move the rocket to the launch site. Two explosive devices were detonated, and the launch was cancelled. I need water. My word. Bombs? How dreadful. Defendant in today's trial is charged with both the bombing and with murder. One Mr. Solomon Starbuck. For whatever inane reason, he detonated a bomb on the rocket he himself would be in. And Starbuck, I recognize that name. Isn't he that famous astronaut? Correct, your baldness. Mr. Starbuck was the pilot of the Hat-1 rocket 7 years ago. As you may recall, despite some interstellar trouble, his mission was a success. Some say it was a miracle he returned alive. I suppose you could say he's a living legend. Oh, I remember now. He's become something of an international celebrity, right? They even turned that incident into a movie and everything. Got a real space pioneer in court today. Huh. What even heroes tumble from their lofty heights. Returning to the subject at hand. Wow, it's really weird. I can't hit Blackwell's voice because I'm not sick anymore. Ah, yes. The victim was one Mr. Clay Terran, subordinate of the defendant. Indeed. A loyal disciple brutally stabbed to death by his mentor. Stabbed to death, you say? You mean his death wasn't a result of the bombing? Correct. Despite his lofty dreams, the victim was seen as an interloper by the defendant. And so he was sent not into space, but to the universe where which we mortals cannot see. Clay. I think I've heard enough. This case seems pretty clear-cut at this point. However, there's one thing I'm curious about. That metal box next to the witness stand. What purpose does it serve, exactly? Since you asked so nicely, it's your coffin. Ah! Have mercy on me! I jest. It's evidence. Due to its immense size, we have little choice but to lay it where it rests now. We shall get to the contents of the box in due time. Ew, I feel like I just lost 50 years off my life.
Does he even have 50 years left?
Inner monologue, Athena, inner monologue. Enough jabbering. Bobby Fulbright's the name. In justice we trust. Ah, Detective Fulbright. Very well then, please explain the details of this incident to the court, if you would. On it. First, take a look at this pamphlet from the Cosmos Space Center. In it, you'll find a diagram outlining the overall layout of the Space Center. Ah, here we are. I'll have you know, Athena, I'm over 9,000 years old. For a more detailed look at what's on the left side of this building. Take a look at this cross-section that we, the police have created. Wow, why was that such a hard sentence? See the launch pad in the main building? The launch pad is the square building. The rounded structure is the main building, right? You got it. The incidents took place in Launchpad 1 and the main building's lounge. I'll be using this diagram during my testimony. It'll make it easier to understand. Just before the rocket was set to launch, 2 bombs went off. Boom! Boom! One on the second floor of the Space Center's main building, and one on Launchpad 1. Thankfully, only the 2 astronauts were in the Launchpad 1 at the time. The 2 of them managed to make it back as far as the boarding lounge. But after the escape, one of the 2 was found stabbed to death. Murder on top of a bombing. Detective, the victim was already dead by the time you'd arrived at the lounge, correct? Yup. Thinking he'd sabotage the bombing, the defendant killed him right there in the rocket. Just look at this tragic photo. Oh my. Is that the knife? Or is that a knife in the victim's chest? Yes, Your Honor. It's the knife that cruelly entered this young man's dreams. Couldn't get any prints of it, though, because the defendant was in his spacesuit. He does have a bit of a JoJo look to him, doesn't he? By the way, Detective Fulbright, why are the victim's helmet and right glove absent in this photograph? We had to remove them to identify him, Your Honor. I personally removed his glove during the investigation. We had to get his fingerprints to confirm his identity, after all. Yes, it would be very difficult to identify him without a face or fingerprints. Now, there's just one more thing I'd like to inquire about. What is this round thing next to the victim in this photo? Something so important to the victim, he took it with him as he escaped the launch pad. A capsule that apparently contains asteroid samples. While obviously valuable for research purposes, it has no relation to this case. I see. So, we know that the bomb in the main building was on the second floor. But where was the bomb that was in the launch pad, that was in Launchpad 1 located? That one was on the rocket itself. It was situated around the central part of the rocket. Apparently, the area around the launch pad's elevator was a sea of flames. I would like to submit the diagram report into the record.
The trials just started and we're already in a bind.
You get used to it. Besides, that's what cross-examination is for, right? What the 2 astronauts were doing during the bombing. That'll be the key. Just before the rocket was set to launch, 2 bombs went off. Boom! Boom!
Hold it!
How powerful were the explosions? Well, the one in the main building wasn't strong enough to bring the place down. But the room it went off in was burned black. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Due in large part, of course, to me stepping up to lead the evacuation. Wait, what were you doing there in the first place, Detective Fulbright? Ha 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 ha! I'm Bobby Fulbright, hero of justice. I'll be there wherever and whenever people need my help. I'd go to the other side of the world, or even the edge of the universe. I'm not sure he knows how far that actually is. But I guess I'll leave that one alone. Admirable decision, Justice Dono. Huh? What did he decide? Anyway, could you describe what it was like at the Space Center at the time? The bomb cut the power to the central bank of the elevators and the 3rd floor lounge. It was pitch black in there, I tell you. However, the security cameras and whatnot were running on emergency backup. And how did the evacuation go? I immediately and heroically whisked people down to the Space Center's basement shelter. Basement shelter? Yes, there's an emergency shelter beneath the Space Center.
An emergency shelter, huh? Oh, here it is. It's at the bottom of the diagram. The Space Center's pretty impressive to have its own shelter.
Power outage and evacuation seem unrelated to the murder at this point. I guess I'll leave that aside for now. So there were 2 explosions in total, correct? Yup, that's right. On the 2nd floor of the Space Center's main building and one in Launchpad 1.
Hold it!
Let me get this straight. Mr. Starbuck rigged a rocket he was going to board with explosives. Huh? What are you talking about? If the defendant really did plant the bomb on his own rocket, he'd get caught in the explosion as well. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Huh. Fine. A simpleton for a simpleton. Fulbright. The motive. Understood. The defendant actually had astrophobia. Astrophobia? What's that? A fear of space, naturally. Just the thought of space can cause the afflicted to freeze up. And so, in his terror, the defendant found a way to stop the launch at the last minute. That's absurd. Unfortunately for you, we have evidence. Take a look at these. What are they? These anti-anxiety tablets were found among the defendant's possessions. Apparently, he was taking them in secret to quell his fears. There were a multitude of problems with the rocket Mr. Starbuck rode 7 years ago. Rumor has it, it threatened to crash a number of times as well. That was, of course, very traumatic for Mr. Starbuck.
Objection!
But that doesn't mean he'd go so far as to blow up his own ship. You see, the way that they described this makes it sound like it was a spur-of-the-moment thing rather than a premeditated act.
Silence.
The defendant couldn't bear to mar his good name. Now could he? No, not after the media had branded him Soul Starbuck, space pioneer extraordinaire. Given these conditions, the defendant could hardly run away like some base mutt. What, so that's why you think he resorted to the bombing? Naturally, he constructed this act of sabotage in an attempt to blow up the space center, which would effectively abort the launch, but spare his reputation. Now I'm sure you understand why we have to bring justice down on this atrocious criminal. Not only that, don't you think bombing the rocket that you're getting on would trigger your, like, PTSD more? Because, like, the whole thing is that the rocket 7 years ago had, like, you know, huge technical difficulties. I don't think you would want to, you know, cause something that could possibly remind you of those technical difficulties, you know? Granted, I guess we don't really know how severe his trauma is with regards to that. But thankfully, only 2 astronauts were in the launch pad 1 at the time. Wow. Albright, where did the top half of your voice go?
Hold it!
Are you sure it was only the 2 of them? It was just before the spaceship was set to launch, so of course it was only those 2. Well, there could have been somebody else inside that rocket.
Silence!
The notion of a third party in Launchpad 1 is utterly absurd. Just to enter the area from the lounge, one must pass through a door guarded by a fingerprint recognition device. And allow me to state up front that there are precious few with the clearance to do so. It's like destroying a firework display after a bad experience with a firecracker 10 years prior. Fingerprint recognition device. It sounds as futuristic and complex as a space center. Actually, it's not as amazing as you think, Your Honor. Take a look at this photo. This is the door in the lounge with the fingerprint lock. Only personnel whose fingerprints are registered can pass through. I see. That's very different from what I had in mind. Is there a record of the number of people that passed through that door yesterday? Yes, there were only 3. The defendant, the victim, and the director of the Space Center, Yuri Cosmos. Then doesn't that mean it's possible that the director is the one who did it? Not a chance. He was in the main building when the bombs exploded at 9:28. Doing his job directing the launch. Besides having an alibi, he has no motive for committing these senseless acts. Has a point. I guess the director can't be considered a suspect then. Also, I find it funny that the judge is like, oh, fingerprint readers, so futuristic. But like, you know, back in game 1, we had fingerprint readers on the lockers in the precinct. Yuri space. Don't worry, not all of the names are like this. We get a man, I'm really excited to get to Aura. Aura is really cool. I guess minor spoilers for the character, for that character, but like, there's a character that we meet later in this trial named Aura, like A-U-R-A, or Aura, I guess, who is great. The 2 of them managed to make it back as far as the boarding lounge.
Hold it!
Well, we were told that the glove was removed by Fulbright. Fulbright is the killer. So while it would appear that the pair barely escaped with their lives, in actuality, one of them had already been murdered inside the rocket. That's the angle the prosecution wants to push, correct? You got it. In fact, that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. Wow, that was a crack. If the victim had been alive, he would have for sure tried to stop the bombing. Is there any chance Mr. Terran could have been killed before he boarded the rocket? They were both alive and well at boarding time and embarked under their own power. Their hearts full of hopes and dreams of space. Both of their hopes and dreams were dashed. I may continue my explanation. After the evacuation order was given, the defendant made his escape, carrying the victim, to make it look like a rescue. But after the escape, one of the two was found stabbed to death. Oh, whoops.
It's like he's trying to give us as little information as possible.
Maybe Prosecutor Blackhole got his tongue.
Well, don't let that hold you back. Keep pressing until we get what we need.
Hold it!
And who was the first to find the victim? Actually, there were two of them. The Space Center Director, Yuri Cosmos. Detective Candace Arm. One of them was a detective. Yup, Detective Arm specializes in bombing, you see. She and the director were ordering the evacuation following the explosions. They were also worried about the astronauts, so they hurried over to the boarding lounge. That's when they discovered the victim along with the defendant. Two witnesses, huh? And one of them is a detective. I doubt either one would have anything to say that would help me. I think that pretty much covers the details of the case. Only the victim and the defendant were on the launch pad when the former was killed. If this is the truth, then only Mr. Starbuck could have carried out this crime. What little I could get out of him only hurt my case. Huh. Justice Dono. Foolish is the warrior who rushes headlong into battle. Preparation is an essential element of battle, so I advise you to take a gander at this. What is it? Footage from a security camera. As the two astronauts emerged from the bowels of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Boarding lounge security camera captured their desperate escape. Now, I would direct your attention to what the defendant is shouldering, which you can see none other than the lifeless body of the victim. What? What color would you say that Fulbright's hair is? Order, order, I say. This lines up exactly with what the prosecution has been asserting. I should have known Blackwell would have something like this ready.
Apollo, how exactly did they determine that Clay was already gone in that footage?
Brown. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, Paradoxica. Like, why didn't he leave Clay in the exploding rocket? Ah, I see what you mean. Whether Clay was still alive at that point is pretty crucial. Your Honor, please take another look at the footage. Isn't it possible that Mr. Terran was still alive here, and that Mr. Starbuck was helping him? Why, I believe you're right. One man carrying the other to safety. What a beautiful expression of friendship.
Silence.
Perhaps that's what it looks like to a one-eyed hothead and a dotard. But it only makes sense if it's the victim's dead body. What do you mean? Fulbright, explain it to Justice Dono. You got it. Ready, kid? If the murder had occurred in the lounge, someone could have spotted it. Anyone can enter the lounge, after all. But doing it while they were alone in the spaceship, that's a horse of a different color.
Objection!
See, Fulbright's hair looks like brown crossed with blonde, if that makes sense. But you can't deny that there's a possibility the murder could have happened in the lounge. All that video shows is a man helping his fellow astronaut out.
Silence.
Or assertion is based on emotion. It's based on your belief that Mr. Starbuck would surely help his own disciple. But you have no logical explanation as to why the victim could still be alive. Unfortunately, Mr. Justice, the prosecution is right. Your argument is lacking in sound logic. But it sounded perfectly logical to me. Well, Mr. Justice, you have no further objections. I believe it's time to bring this cross-examination to a close. Objections? Well,
Hold it! Your Honor, the defense requests a little time to think and regroup.
Hey, Barrick, how are you doing? Given the facts, I'm not sure I see the need. What is it, Athena?
It's just... there's something that's been bothering me.
Huh. If it isn't the defense stalling for time, as always. Very well. I'm feeling generous. I have a small measure of time.
Yes.
Have 5 seconds.
5 seconds?
After that, I declare this cross-examination to be closed, and a verdict to be rendered. For boldness, raise your gavel high. It's time for a countdown. Oh! Ready? We don't have time. Spit it out, Athena. Only 3 more seconds.
Look, I don't think the prosecution's explanation is very complete.
Meaning?
Meaning there's something missing, like they conveniently left it unexplained.
Something they didn't explain. Something they didn't explain. Ah, you're right. I think I know what you're talking about. Your 5 seconds are up, Mr. Justice. Is there anything about the prosecution's argument you'd like to rebut? Yes, Your Honor. Actually, there is. There's something the prosecution has yet to make clear to this court. Well, if you put it that way. What is that? What is it that the prosecution has failed to explain? Why the body was moved? They've failed to explain why Mr. Starbuck would bother bringing the body back at all. If the defendant wanted to kill the victim, why didn't he just leave his body in the rocket? Why go through the trouble of bringing him all the way back to the boarding lounge? Oh, that's true. I don't think we've heard the prosecution's thoughts on that yet. That's because they have none, Your Honor. After all, how does one explain something so illogical? The prosecution is claiming that the defendant moved the victim's dead body. But what if the entire premise of that argument is wrong? Then let's hear your theory, Mr. Justice. The defense proposes that the defendant didn't kill the victim. He was helping him. Fulbright, explain it for our sad friend here before I nod off to his monotone monologue. Inform him exactly why Spaceboy moved the victim. Huh? You've gotta be joking. It's simple. Mr. Starbuck did what he did to direct suspicion away from himself. He wanted to create the impression he heroically risked his life to save his partner. That's why he made sure to make it to the security camera so there'd be a record. At the very least, he appears to have achieved success with you and the old man. One man carrying the other to safety. What a beautiful expression of friendship. The average person wearing a spacesuit weighs easily over 200 pounds. Saving the life of a partner who weighs as much while trying to escape deadly flames. What a dramatic sob story fit for the silver screen. Indeed, I was completely taken by the humanity of the story. See? Yet the true ending is Yet the true ending is that all traces of his humanity, of his hammy act, were meant to be blown up. Yes, and now we arrive at the thrilling conclusion. The third explosion.
Objection!
What are you talking about? There was no third explosion.
Silence.
Indeed, you are correct. But that is thanks to Detective Arm. It was she who identified and secured the bomb. However, it doesn't change the fact that the third bomb was discovered in the lounge. A steel coffin beside the witness stand. That would be a bomb transport case. We used that to transport the deactivated bomb here. It was found in the lounge. Bomb in the form of a most distasteful toy.
What?
On the second floor of the main building. One on the launch pad, and one in the lounge. The defendant planned to set off 3 firework displays. Fortunately, the third was discovered before it could be detonated. Or if it had not, the victim's body and other vital evidence would surely have been immolated.
Objection!
Immolated is a good word. Before you utter a word, know that the evidence supports me.
It's like he's reading my mind.
As it is still undergoing forensic investigation, I do not have the evidence on hand. However, know that a peculiar item was found in one of Mr. Starbuck's pockets. Specifically, a bomb detonation switch.
You found what?
I suspect the defendant had no time to destroy such damning evidence. When the Space Center director and Detective Arm stumbled across the murder. So he thought to hide it in his pocket. Feeble-brained that he is.
No, Mr. Starbuck would never do anything like that.
Justice, Donal. Open your eyes and see the truth. This appears to be irrefutable evidence of that the accused set off the explosions.
No, there has to be some kind of mistake. This can't be the truth.
Still can't accept it. You'll believe in your client, come what may. Then why don't you cross-examine the defendant himself? This has got to be a trap.
It's like Blackcool's controlling the entire game.
Yeah, it seemed like he was waiting for me to bring up the body moving issue.
Why do you say that?
Because he had just the right argument when I pointed it out. To really rub it in, he had a decisive piece of evidence up his sleeve, too. He was trying to shake my faith in Mr. Starbuck and break me down.
And then making you cross-examine Mr. Starbuck at this point was part of his plan, too? Totally underhanded, but I wouldn't expect anything less from him.
Now, let us hear from the arch-villain, the fiendish murderer himself. Famed astronaut Solomon Starbuck. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Solomon Starbuck, astronaut. Sorry, I needed to hydrate. I'm gonna need to go get water later in this stream because I do not have a full water bottle. How did this happen? Mr. Starbuck, you aren't looking very well. Will you be able to give testimony? No. Well, unfortunately, no is not an option. You're being accused of the Space Center bombing and the murder of Clay Terran. Please testify to these allegations. Mind if I take the suit off? It's getting really heavy.
Silence.
It's not the weight of the suit that you feel, but of your sins. Prepare to carry that weight for the rest of your life. Banish me to the moon. I don't care anymore.
Wow, that was super negative. Is he going to be alright up there?
He'll be fine, I think. As long as he doesn't totally give up and say that he did it, that is. All I did was support Clay over my shoulder and get us out of the rocket. Like always, I took the elevator down the middle level and headed for the corridor. I had passed by the time we got to the order to evacuate. I didn't kill Clay. I was trying to save him. You assert you didn't set off the bombs or murder the victim. But I bet you think I'm lying, right? I reserve all judgment until I've heard your full testimony. I'm sure you don't believe me. I bet you don't even believe I'm an astronaut. I don't think the judge doubts that.
Who'd wear a suit like that except an astronaut?
Hey, God Zephos, how are you doing? I'll say that when I saw you in that movie, you appeared quite courageous. Suppose reality never quite lives up to fantasy. I guess I'm just a big disappointment. I really don't care what happens anymore. Oh no, he's completely given up. Huh. Yeah, the tiny Maddie. Pocket Maddie. Huh. What a depressing fellow. If you were to join me in the clink, I imagine that annoying sighing of yours would rub off on the other inmates.
Like how it rubbed off on Prosecutor Blackwell a second ago.
Huh? Was Blackwell sighing? Mr. Starbuck's testimony contains a glaring contradiction. The question is, what does it mean? Even if Mr. Starbuck is my client, I can't be gun-shy now. It's time to find out the truth. Honestly, it would be really funny to do like stickers of the Pocket Maddie. All I did was support Clay over my shoulder and get us out of the rocket.
Hold it!
So what you're saying is that the victim was still alive at that time? Of course, he was alive and well.
Silence!
If so, then you admit you took a man who is alive and well and silenced him permanently with this. What? No, Blacko confirmed, dead ahead. Ah, it's no good, Captain. Getting sucked in.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, you're not in space. Please give your testimony seriously. It was just nerves. But maybe I shouldn't have said he was alive and well. It's more like he was slumped over. Those are complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Like always, I took the elevator down to the middle level and headed for the corridor.
Hold it!
Is that the elevator inside the launch pad area? That's right. We always use it to get to and from the cockpit.
That makes sense. So he was just using the route he had always used.
In spite of the fact that there had just been an explosion?
Huh?
I think Mr. Starbuck is hiding something. Something pretty big. Yeah, there it is. I'm gonna safety save in case I'm a step ahead of what the game actually wants me to do, but...
Hold it!
Whoops, I didn't mean to do that.
Objection!
Consider the evidence. There's obviously something wrong with that statement. I presented that on the wrong fucking statement. I watched that back in the, like, in my stream preview and I was like, wait a sec, that was just the wrong statement.
Objection!
No, I didn't press the wrong button. When you press, it automatically moves your, like, once you're done with the, statement, it, pushes you onto the next one. So I pressed it by accident, and then presented it on the next one, thinking I was still on the previous statement. Mr. Starbuck, I need your testimony to be as accurate as possible. Was I not being accurate? No, because it's impossible for you to have taken the elevator down to the middle level. What makes you say that, Mr. Justice? Please recall where the bomb went off in Launchpad 1. Also recall that after the explosion, the middle-level elevator was engulfed in flames. Oh, you're right. Which means... Exactly. The Launchpad's elevator would have been unusable. In other words... Mr. Starbuck, your statement is decidedly inconsistent with the facts. What's with the helmet? Mission Command, Mission Command! Do you read me? Come in, please.
Objection!
This is Mission Command. I order you to pay attention. Stop this nonsense and answer my question, Mr. Starbuck. My helmet. My oxygen tank. Oxygen concentration and body temperature declining. Requesting medical assistance. Mr. Starbuck, we're not in space right now. You stop pretending you've lost consciousness and stand back up. I apologize, Your Honor. I forgot I was still on Earth.
I feel like we all just got a real glimpse of Solomon Starbuck, the astronaut.
Yeah, he seemed more like an astronaut now than when he was doing all that sighing. Mr. Starbuck, could you please explain the inconsistency in your statement? About how you used the middle-level elevator. I was nervous and said the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I actually, took a different route, I think. A different route? I hope you're able to deliver a straight story this time. I'll get it right this time. Maybe. No, I mean, probably. Probably. It's understandable to be nervous, but let me remind you, your accuracy is paramount in this course. Court. Let's see, my escape route. What I said before was a mistake. I remember now. I took a different route. Maybe, probably. With the capsuling clay in my arms, I made my way down from the upper level. So you're saying you escaped without using the elevator? That's right. There's a ladder that spans the upper and middle levels. I used that ladder to get into the middle level. Luckily, the fire hadn't reached the ladder, so we could make our escape that way. And the capsule you mentioned? I suppose you mean the thing next to Mr. Terran here. Was the capsule that important that you'd risk your life to take it with you? It almost goes without saying, but yeah. The capsule contains asteroid samples. Therefore, it's invaluable as research material. The spacesuit on, clay weighed a ton, but securing the capsule was also important. I need you to answer to the best of your ability. Mr. Starbuck, please remember that your verdict is writing on your testimony. Maybe I am guilty after all. I wonder if you can see the stars in prison. Bet it's more comfortable in a spaceship. Let's see, my escape route. What I said before was a mistake.
Hold it!
This is only 3 statements long. How could you make how could you mistake such a basic fact? Hey, everyone makes mistakes. But try thinking about the vastness of space instead. Earth, it takes 4 light years to travel to our nearest neighboring star. So you see, compared to the vast expanse of space, human error is insignificant. I wish you'd consider it just a little more significant than 0. Enough jabbering. Get on with your testimony. Tired EP. I remember now. I took a different route. Maybe, probably.
Hold it!
Maybe, probably. Did I hear you right, Mr. Starbuck? I didn't say either of those things. Mission Control, come in, please. An error has occurred in the sound system. Activate the emergency tin can telephone. Oh no! Tin can telephones are ineffective in the vacuum of space.
Silence!
Stop this nonsense, or I will sever you and your tin can telephone. Alright, I'm begging you, I'll tell the truth. Just don't sever anything.
Apollo, is he going to be alright?
I'm starting to think he's not. Let's see. So about when we were running away. With the capsule and clay in my arms, I made my way down from the upper level.
Hold it!
The upper level of the launch pad area. That's right. That's what I said, isn't it? Sorry, give me a sec. Oh, whoops. Accidentally knocked something on the floor. Give me a moment. Man, I kind of feel bad for my poor mic arm. My mic arm... my mic arm is one of those, like... ones that's mostly a horizontal mic arm than a vertical one. And, it's currently got a phone holder strapped to it for my VTubing tracking. And and my pop filter as well. And a cord that's running over the top of it. Granted, that route does exist. So to recap, you had clay over your right shoulder and the capsule in your left hand? Yeah, it's really important. Couldn't let it get burned up. So even though clay was really heavy, couldn't afford to carry him with both hands. Did the best I could with him over one shoulder and the capsule in my other hand. I don't think the meaning of what he just said has hit him yet. Huh. You know what you have to do with that statement? Justice Dono. Yes, I know. Well, I've come this far. No turning back now. It's time to present some evidence.
So, Mr. Starbuck escaped the clay and the capsule, which means... it's just like it is on the footage. I can see why he couldn't run, though.
Must have weighed over 200 pounds just by himself.
Yeah, and he had to support Clay, who was another 200 pounds. Plus, he had to ensure the safety of that capsule. I don't think I could have even walked under those circumstances.
Walking straight forward is probably about all I would have been able to manage. I assume I'm supposed to present the diagram?
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, why don't you just tell the truth? The truth? Let's see. The Earth is blue? No, that's not right. So, I guess the Earth isn't blue? Yeah, that's it. The truth, Mr. Starbuck. The oxygen concentration is super low in this area. Where are the emergency oxygen tanks? Mr. Justice, the witness appears confused. Please help draw out the truth from him. Mr. Starbuck, under the circumstances at the time, you couldn't possibly have reached the boarding lounge via the upper level route. Huh? Not as long as this was along the escape route.
Take that!
To get down from the upper to the middle level where the Launchpad 1 corridor is, you would have had to go down the ladder. Isn't that right, Mr. Starbuck? Of course. It's the only way we could escape.
Objection!
But how would that work? At the time, you were supporting Mr. Terran over your shoulder, were you not? And remember, he was in full space gear as well, putting him at over 200 pounds. Oh. Well, it's easy on the moon. Gravity is only 1/6 of what it is here on Earth.
Objection!
But the Space Center is located on Earth. Short of being an octopus, climbing a ladder with an adult male in space gear in one arm, while carrying a capsule in the other is impossible, wouldn't you say? Oh. So, Mr. Starbuck, how exactly did you climb down that ladder with your arms full? Mr. Starbuck, come clean and tell us the truth, now. Engineer, where's that engineer? Oxygen leak detected due to faulty maintenance. Evacuate immediately. What the? He's flying the coop. Help, I'm caught on the ceiling. Help, anyone? Bailiff, prepare the cherry picker. We must launch our rescue mission at once.
Well, that's one way to take off while being questioned.
I'd rather prove his innocent so we can go to space someday for real. Now then, Mr. Starbuck, do you think you could keep your feet planted on the ground? Yes. I apologize for losing control. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Not that. Anything but that. What's going on? This isn't the Mr. Starbuck I know. Appears Spaceboy is prone to deception. Witness. Yikes. Yes? I thought your story odd, but perhaps the inconsistencies can be explained as the result of a medical side effect. Prosecutor Blackwell, please don't talk about that. What are you talking about, Prosecutor Blackwell? Huh. Didn't I already state that Space Boy is ironically terrified of going into space? That's why he took some precautions just before the launch. Or you see, traces of this anti-anxiety drug were found in his system. Oh? I sense things are about to nosedive. You got it all wrong. I told him during the investigation, too. I don't know anything about any drugs. I never took any medication, I swear. It's found in his system, but he doesn't remember taking it? How could that be? Somebody must have slipped them to me. But I guess maybe that's why I don't remember. Because of the side effects. Yeah, that's why I don't remember much about what really happened. What? Order in the court. Can't get any useful testimony out of him if he doesn't remember anything.
Well, this certainly explains why his testimony kept changing.
Why didn't he just tell me he couldn't remember?
I guess he didn't want anybody to find out he was terrified of going into space.
Maybe I really did do it. Which brings us to the answer of our original question. Of how the witness climbed down the ladder with a dead body. It does? So what is it? A dead man feels no pain and makes no complaints, Justice Dono. So the body was the body was simply dropped down from the top of the ladder. Oh my, I see. The defendant could climb down with his free hand.
Objection!
Drop the body down? Who would do such a despicable thing? Besides, dropping the body down would leave marks on the body itself. So you're capable of quick thinking. Yes, you are correct. Really? Oh, thanks? Ah! Huh? What's this? It's the oxygen tank from the victim's spacesuit. It's ruptured. I'm sure you can figure out why. You can't be implying it ruptured when the defendant dropped the victim's body. I am. Or they fracture easily when struck.
Objection!
That's a really shitty air tank then. Even if that's true, the tank's explosion and shrapnel would leave its mark on the body. Yet according to the autopsy report, only the knife wound was found on the victim's body. You're clearly grasping at straws with this line of reasoning.
Silence!
A spacesuit isn't heavy for the sake of being heavy, Justice Dono. It includes the latest technological devices. It is made of the fabric of tomorrow. This fabric is made to protect astronauts from the dangers of space. So falling a few Earth yards would hardly leave a mark on the wearer.
Objection!
Then shouldn't it be impossible to stab someone through it as well? It should. Yet through sheer coincidence, the knife slipped through a weak spot in the suit's structure, found a way to its target. That's very convenient, isn't it, Blackwell? What are the chances? Forget that our killer is an astronaut himself, with a knowledge of how the suits work. Fuck. Shut up. Shut up, Blackwell. I love you, but shut up. He's got me there. And now my argument has been proven. Space Boy killed the victim in the rocket, then dropped his body from the upper level. Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait. Did I read that? I don't know if I read that out. Space Boy killed the victim in the rocket, then dropped his body from the upper level. After climbing down, he shouldered the body and made sure the camera recorded him. There's no room for debate about these facts. It's clear that Solomon Starbuck is the only one who could have killed Clay Terran. Here, a report regarding the astronauts' oxygen tanks. Consider it my send-off gift. Thank you for the hydrate, banana. Feel free to use it as payment to cross the river Styx. Ah!
Hey, this report is pretty detailed.
Let's see. The display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows the oxygen remaining. Oh, whoops. After the incident, the victim's tank was ruptured and the remaining oxygen was 0%. Tank belonging to Starbuck, who claims to have carried the victim, said it was 80% full. Tanks were functioning properly at the time. I guess that means these glowing cyan digits represent the amount of oxygen in the tank. I'm done for. I'm going to prison instead of space. Space Boy. Yes? Take heart. The bejeweled night sky is still beautiful, even when viewed through bars. You mean the stars as seen from prison? That's right. Your cell will be your spaceship. Picture the view through the iron bars. It's like being an astronaut in your own craft for all time. That's not a half-bad thought. Mr. Starbuck? Prosecutor Blackwell got to him good. Yeah, I know, right? Well, no, his oxygen levels should be at 80%. Why are they at 50% in the picture is the issue that's there. Because the picture that we got shows it at 50. And this should be the defendant at 80. But spaceship prison cell. Fly me, my guilt, and my despair into the deepest, darkest space. And then let's get sucked into a black hole together.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, you can't give up hope. Oh? Yes, Apollo? Clay really looked up to you. He said you were an incredible man. He said you'd never give up on your dreams and passion for space, no matter the situation. He said that? So don't give up now and help me prove your innocence. For the sake of the man who respected you and believed in you, Clay Terran. Clay? Huh. You're wasting your breath. Ugh. 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 Apollo, thank you. I can see things clearly now. Mr. Starbuck? I'm fine now. Thanks for reminding me of my life's mission. Right, we'll both be fine. I'll prove you innocent, you see? And after that, we'll get you back into space. Ah! You've ignited the booster rockets of my soul! I'm on fire! I am Solomon Starbuck, astronaut, a cosmic hero chosen by the universe itself. This is no time to be whimpering and crying. I can't let you and Clay down. Balderdash. The sun, the moon, all of space is calling to me. Solomon Soul Starbuck. You know, they should have named they should have named Starbuck after the moon. They should have named him after the moon instead of after the sun. Because technically speaking, if you really wanted to, Apollo can already be a pun on the sun, because Apollo is the god of the sun in, what is it, Roman mythology? I think Apollo is a Roman god. I might be mistaken on that though, but I seem to remember it being like, because Rome took all of their gods from the Greek pantheon and just renamed them. Well, most of their gods. I think Apollo is just a renamed Greek god, but it's the Roman version of it. Sun, the moon, all of space is calling to me, Solomon Soul Starbuck. Ready for launch. Begin the countdown. 5, 4,
3,
ooh,
1.
I haven't seen Battlestar Galactica, but it could be. And if that's the reference they're going for, that's actually really cute. Well, I feel like I've witnessed an actual rocket launch.
Apollo, you did it. You broke Prosecutor Blackwell's grip over Mr. Starbuck.
I can't take the credit. It was all Mr. Starbuck. He pulled himself through. Huh. You simpletons are done massaging one another's egos. No matter how positive your mood, my advantage remains unshakable. I've but to wait for the final guilty verdict. Isn't that right, Your? Can't let up now. I have to stop Blackwell. I have to see this through. Mr. Starbuck just has to make it back into space. I won't allow Clay's dream to remain unfulfilled. I've got to destroy Blackwell's argument somehow. Think, Justice, think. If the only people at Launchpad 1 were Clay and Mr. Starbuck, and if Clay was already dead by the time the footage was taken, the only person who could have killed him is Mr. Starbuck. So the only way to counter Blackwell's argument is, if I can prove that Clay was still alive when they arrived at the boarding lounge. Oh, I think I figured it out. That's not Starbuck carrying Clay. It's the other way around. Because it would be Clay with the 50% oxygen tank and Starbuck with the 80% oxygen tank. In which case, I should be able to find some contradiction in the evidence itself. Now let's see. About this data we just received. This supposedly proves that Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay's body in Launchpad 1. But if I'm going to prove that false, then there must be something I can use here. Enough of this farce. Your boldness. Let's have your verdict.
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, You seem to be in quite a hurry to rush the verdict. But about this oxygen tank data you submitted just now. It says that Mr. Starbuck's tank had 80% remaining, while Mr. Terran's had 0. Do you stand by the accuracy of this report? Of course. Then I guess it simply means that it's faulty, as evidence goes. You will explain what you mean, Justice Dono. It's simple. This evidence contradicts the facts of this case. Take a look here at the detailed description and you'll see what I mean. I hope you have some evidence, Mr. Justice, because I don't see what's so contradictory. Yes, Your Honor, right away. This is the evidence that the oxygen tank report stands in contradiction to.
Take that!
Apollo is both a Greek and a Roman god? Really? He's just Apollo in both pantheons? Interesting. How does this evidence present a contradiction? The problem is this part here.
Take that!
Note the remaining oxygen in Mr. Starbuck's tank as he carries Mr. Terran. It appears to say 50. Yes, but according to the data, our client's tank had 80% remaining. The oxygen in the tank increased. I see Your Honor finds it as strange as I do. It's bad enough that there's a contradiction, but the increase in oxygen is beyond illogical. Rome is just we have ancient Greece at home. Hey Mike, how are you doing? Oh my, you're absolutely right. What is going on here?
Silence.
Huh. I too find it odd that the oxygen remaining has increased. It would be as odd as if my rations were to increase. But what does that prove? It doesn't change the fact that it is the defendant carrying the victim's corpse. I'm doing good. I'm doing significantly better than I was the last little bit because I've finally shaken the sickness that I caught.
Objection!
I'm going to bet you don't get more rations because you don't abide by the rules. Either way, the oxygen remaining shouldn't increase, just as your rations don't increase. Therefore, this new information is critical. We can't overlook it.
Silence.
In that case, do you have an answer to this riddle of the mysteriously increasing oxygen? You'd better not disappoint, or I'll declare the inconsistency as mere equipment malfunction. Ugh. Prosecutor Blackwell has a point. I suppose it could be a simple malfunction. Mr. Justice, if you cannot provide adequate counter-argument to this point, I'm afraid I must bring this trial to an end. Oh, do you think you can explain why the remaining oxygen level increased? Of course I can. The thing to do at a time like this is turn my thinking around. Oh, whoops. Sorry, that was probably loud. Mr. Starbuck has no memory of it, but claims to have been carried by Clay. Sorry, I had to adjust. I bumped my pop filter, and my pop filter is really, the clamp on it is really shallow. And very, very poorly designed. Mr. Starbuck has no memory of it, but he claims to have carried Clay. So this man with the 50 on his tank ought to be Mr. Starbuck. But if anything, the display on his oxygen tank should have shown an 80. This is a clear contradiction between the report and the security footage. So what I should be asking is not why did the oxygen level increase, but But what had to have happened to make it look like it increased? Am I making some kind of mistake in my base assumptions here? Well, Mr. Justice, we're waiting. Yes, Your Honor. I'm ready to answer. This is why the remaining oxygen appears to have increased. What if it was the other way around? Other way around? Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice? As you can see, Your Honor, both men had their helmets on in this footage. But it turns out, this is where our base assumptions went astray. We assumed that it was Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran, but it was the other way around. It wasn't Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran at all. It was Mr. Terran who was helping Mr. Starbuck at the boarding lounge. It was what? Order, order! Mr. Justice? You mean to tell me that the person on the right in this image is the victim, Clay Terran? It's the only way the riddle of the increasing oxygen level can be solved, Your Honor. At this point in time, the remaining oxygen in the victim's tank was at 50%. And when the victim was found in the boarding lounge, his tank was at 0%.
That's right. There's nothing contradictory about the oxygen level decreasing.
This means Mr. Terran was alive as they made their escape to the lounge.
Silence.
Huh. How short your memory is. Have you forgotten what you yourself proposed? Even if the victim was alive at this point in time. How did he descend the ladder with his arms full?
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackquill, you can't hurt me with a broken blade. Excuse me? It's true that we don't know how they got down the ladder. I suppose that matter needs further investigating. But we have proven that Mr. Terran was alive when he reached the boarding area. This fact alone shatters your claims, and opens up the possibility that the victim could have been killed by a third party. Ugh. There were two people who claimed to be the first at the scene. Maybe you should use your clamps, yeah. Man, I haven't watched Futurama in forever. There were two people who claimed to be the first on the scene. But can we truly trust their statements?
Let's see. The two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police?
Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. Seems we'll have to hear the testimony of these first two people on the scene. Score. Think of it, Detective Arm should be here in court right now. Elif, could you please show Detective Arm to the stand?
I have an announcement, everyone.
What's the meaning of this? We're in the middle of a trial here.
Please remain calm and listen carefully. Someone has reactivated the bomb. The bomb was defused, but it's about to explode.
Ode? A bomb? Now? Everybody run!
I don't want to die. Oh no, everyone's panicking.
Bomb was refused, yeah.
Silence.
Headless chickens with a death wish. The lot of you. Calm yourselves afore all else.
Come on, Apollo, let's get out of here.
But what about Mr. Starbuck's dream? And who will carry out Clay's final wish? I don't care what happens to me. I'm not letting some bomb blow up the truth forever. I refuse to let things end here.
Apollo, this is no time to be dramatic. If we don't get out of here, we're gonna die. Come on, this way.
Hey, ouch, let me go.
Apollo!
Juniper? She hasn't evacuated yet. Juniper, are you alright?
Apollo, no, not that.
Wait, whoops, that was Athena. Ugh. That was an Athena line that I read as Juniper, whoops. When you say post-canceled seasons, do you mean the new seasons like that are coming out right now or came out, I guess, the Hulu seasons, or do you mean just like after the first time it was canceled, because it was canceled like 3 times? In the middle of the Space Center bombing trial, we had another bombing incident. This one destroyed courtroom number 4. Furthermore, Apollo suffered massive injuries from being there when the bomb went off. Unfortunately, Juniper Woods was fingered as the courtroom bomber. Athena and I knew she had to be innocent, so we took her case on. We managed to clear Miss Woods' name. But Apollo got brain damage. But Apollo sustained further injuries when he was attacked by Ted Tonate. Man, I love Ace Attorney names.
Apollo's a tough guy, but I think this is taking its toll on him.
Yeah, poor guy. Being attacked by Tonate like that on top of all of his other injuries. Apollo's resting at the nearby Hickfield Clinic. I've had some experience with that place myself. What an awful turn of events. Never thought he'd land in a hospital of all places. You must miss him too, huh? Now that you don't have anybody to tease? Don't worry, he's young. He'll heal quickly and be back before you know it. It's been a while since I last saw Trucy look so down. We won the court case, yet nobody feels much like celebrating.
All right, enough of this, people. This is no time to be moping around. Now dry those eyes, both of you.
You're the only one who's crying, Athena.
Technicalities. Look, we have work to do. We have to take over.
Take over what exactly?
Apollo's Space Center case, of course. As no verdict's been reached, there's still a chance. I agree with Athena. We should pick up Mr. Starbuck's defense. We have to avenge our fallen comrade, right, Daddy?
Apollo hasn't exactly fallen. He's still alive, you know?
Good. Now that that's settled, let's get going. Come on, we gotta run.
Wait, right now? Better not be running the whole way. There she goes. I better catch up. Can you take care of the office, Trucy?
Sure thing, Daddy. Let's be careful out there. In the meantime, I'm going to bake some cookies and fill up my magic panties for you.
Trucy seems to be feeling a little better. Always count on Athena to perk everyone up with her enthusiasm.
Oh, she's back. Don't mind me, just forgot a few things. Wallet, phone, the documents, my bag.
Sounds more like you forgot everything. I can always count on Athena for that, too.
All right, you two, let's be careful out there.
So our client is one Solomon Starbuck. He's so famous even I've heard of him.
That's right. He's a super famous astronaut who works at the Cosmos Space Center. He was actually up in outer space 7 years ago.
You seem to know quite a bit about him. Now I'm all excited to meet the man. Wow, that was the longest sigh I've ever heard. Apollo told me all about you. You're Phoenix Wright, Apollo's mentor, right? Yes, that's right. Mentor has a nice ring to it.
Don't worry about a thing, Mr. Starbuck. Mr. Wright and I have got you covered.
And you're the new kid that Apollo told me about. Wait, don't I know you from somewhere?
Huh? You mean, other than at your trial? I don't think so.
I guess so. My mistake. My memory isn't what it used to be. Mind and body are kaput. Same goes for my life. I mean, I'm so astronomically unlucky that I had a bomb go off in the middle of my trial. Trying to defend me would be like trying to enter the stratosphere without a spacecraft. Yikes. He's seriously gotta stop depressing himself.
Cheer up, Mr. Starbuck. Besides, that thing you said about entering the stratosphere, that just means we'd shine like shooting stars, right?
Shooting stars, huh? No, you're right. Why didn't I think of that? After all, that's what we were all put on this earth to do, right? Shine like stars. Guess I should mention the fact that shooting stars burn out in a flash, or shouldn't mention. Ah, yeah. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. To the stratosphere and beyond. Yeah, I feel alive now. You can go ahead and ask me anything you want. That really all it takes? So you have no memory at all of the incident? I'm so ashamed. My memory of the time is as black and as clouded as the Dark Nebula, or as a Dark Nebula.
Still, it's strange you don't remember a thing. Are you sure you didn't take one of those anti-anxiety pills like they said at the trial?
You got it all wrong. I told him during the investigation, too. I don't know anything about any drugs. Never took any medication, I swear. It is true I developed this fear of space because of what happened 7 years ago. And I was taking medication secretly every now and then when my anxiety got bad. Having a fear of space isn't something an astronaut can brag about, you know? Oh, the so-called Hat 1 miracle. Must have been a terrifying experience. But I'm still an astronaut at heart, come what may. I would never take drugs that might impede my performance just before a launch. A launch meant everything to me. That's more certain than the theory of relativity. He seems like a completely different person now. This is the face of the astronaut I know.
But the tranquilizers were found in your system.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I don't know why. I'm done for. You didn't take them, then maybe somebody slipped them to you. Exactly. That's what I thought. It must have been the real culprit. My medication was in my locker. Anybody could have gotten their hands on it.
Maybe the real culprit also planted the detonator switch in your pocket.
Yeah, that's gotta be it. I've been framed. I'll say. They even managed to plant your prints on the switch before slipping it in. It's a real possibility. Do you remember anything else that might be relevant? Anything at all, no matter how small. Like about the murder weapon, for example. That knife. I think it came from one of the Space Center's utility kits. Utility kits? Yeah, staff who work on machinery a lot are given these special toolkits to use. All the technicians have them, so I doubt you could prove whose knife it is. As I recall, your last trip to space was 7 years ago, right? That's right. It was a pretty rough experience. During that mission, we had all kinds of problems with the craft. You did? What kind of problems? Power failure, oxygen leakage, busted radio, cracked windows, loose control column. Heat shield came off as we were entering the atmosphere. I thought I was a goner. I managed to make it somehow with the popsicles and ice packs from the freezer.
No wonder they dubbed it the Hat One Miracle. It's a miracle you made it back.
Space is a boundless place. That's why it continues to capture people's imaginations. Vastness of space shows us how insignificant we are in the scheme of things. Darkness just goes on and on forever and ever, without end. There's nobody else there. Nobody was gonna come save me. I was all alone. All alone with nothing to listen to but the sound of my own breathing and heartbeat. Kept scrambling to make repairs, but I couldn't keep my hands from shaking. Experience like that would make anybody afraid to go up into space.
With the experience you had, weren't you dreading this mission?
Wow, that didn't come out right. What? No way. Of course not. Even now I want to go up into space so bad I can barely stand it. I want to shake off the Earth's gravity at escape velocity and spin around weightless.
But you have to admit, it was pretty harrowing. Weren't you even a tiny bit afraid?
I was afraid. Of course I was. I still am. But space is man's final frontier. An unknown world. Cosmic truth is out there waiting for us somewhere. The cosmic truth, huh? Yes, there are people looking for the truth in every walk of life. No matter how afraid I am, I'm sure I can manage. If I give in to my fear, I'll never find the truth. As long as I don't give up, I can keep in the fight. One thing's for sure, Mr. Starbuck's passion for space is undeniably the real deal. The victim, Clay Terran. He was kind of like your protege, wasn't he? Well, it wasn't a big exaggerated deal like master and apprentice or anything like that. Clay did think of me as his mentor. Mentor and the protege. What a combination they must have been. With his encouragement, I knew I could get over my fear and go back into space. But now...
Clay must have been very encouraging, huh?
Yeah. It's funny, really. Whenever I'd hear him shout, "You're fine," I always got the feeling everything really was gonna be just fine.
You're fine. Apollo says I'm fine and you're fine all the time, too. I always feel encouraged, too, whenever I hear him shout it.
Yeah. Me and Apollo were best buds. He used to come visit the Space Center a lot, ever since they were high school kids. One day out of the blue, Clay even told me he wanted to be my protege. Those two hung around the Space Center so much, like they were part of the staff. One time during zero-G training, I started to panic a little bit. Two of them took turns shouting, "You're fine," over the radio. It's a simple thing, but it was exactly what I needed to hear. So I'm fine and you're fine, or like Apollo and Clay's secret phrases, huh? Wish I could ask Apollo more about Clay and their relationship now.
Speaking of Clay, how do you suppose he climbed down the ladder with you over his shoulder?
Sorry, but I can't even begin to imagine. He actually did climb down that ladder, so a way has to exist. Freedom of space to the walls of a cell. That prosecutor said the dark night sky isn't half bad through barred windows.
You're fine. Solomon Soul Starbuck is fine. Everything's going to be all right.
Huh?
And Athena Sykes is fine. Come on, Mr. Wright, you too.
I really have to. Phoenix Wright is fine.
I can't hear you.
Phoenix Wright is fine.
We'll get you back into space yet, Mr. Starbuck. Believe in your own innocence and have faith in us.
Paulo believed in you wholeheartedly, and that's good enough for me. I believe in you too. Thank you. Thank you, both of you. I'll put my faith in you. And I vow to make it back into space. All I need first is a not guilty verdict. Sure feels nice to reassure ourselves every now and then that we're all fine.
Okay, Mr. Wright. Let's get our investigation of the Space Center started. Pronto.
Good idea. Let's go. Wow. Wondering what kind of place the Space Center would be. Almost looks like an amusement park of the future.
Yeah. Did you know they even let the public see their rockets up close? Oh, so check it out. Look at how brightly the Gyaxa logo shines on the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going.
Gyaxa, huh? Isn't that the name of the new federal space R&D program?
Yeah, but why the strange acronym? I mean, what's the GYA supposed to stand for? Galaxy?
If that were it, then the whole thing would be something like Galaxy Exploration Agency. Which, if you ask me, I'd have abbreviated to GAXA, or even Gaia. Gaia?
I guess so. Oh, I know. Maybe the person who came up with it, or with the name, just really likes the letter Y.
This exchange is beginning to feel oddly like deja vu.
Anyway, this place is more than just a research facility. It's also a tourist attraction.
Why is there a flump over here? This is a D&D flump. Just, like, it's the wrong color. My guess is that this is gonna be Yuri Cosmos. And I remember what he looks like. He's the old captain dude on a Segway. Tourist attraction? Don't make me laugh. It's a monument to the human race. Galactic scooter, full speed ahead.
Yikes. Who's this geezer and what's he want?
Look upon me and look well. Behold the great power of space science.
Pardon me, but you have a Waluigi mustache.
My glorious name is Yuri Cosmos. I'm the director of the Cosmos Space Center. Center of the Cosmos.
Boss, that was pretty groan-inducing.
This person is the Space Center's director, then that means...
Ah, so you were one of the first to discover Clay's body, weren't you?
Who was the first to find the victim?
Actually, there were two of them. The Space Center director, Yuri Cosmos. Detective Candace Arm. That is correct. I was honored to be the very first man in all of space and time to discover the body. But let's talk of the incident. By any chance, the space police?
Can't tack the word space onto just any old thing, you know. We're Mr. Starbuck's lawyers. We're here to investigate the case.
Oh, and we're Earth lawyers, by the way.
Ah, I see. Yes, I've heard about you. In that case, by my esteemed privilege, I grant you permission to investigate. I trust you are appropriately grateful. Now go ahead, have at it.
I can already tell he's gonna be nothing but trouble.
Don't let him hear you say that, or you'll see what trouble really is. Let's just be professional and ask him about when he found the body, okay? Real quick. I need more water, but I'm also going to take an extra little bit, and I'm going to, make myself some tea real quick. I'm gonna boil water, and then, bring it down here so I can just pour it down here. So I'm not holding up stream for 8 minutes, but yeah, I will be back in just a moment with tea. Okay. I have made tea. It is currently steeping. Remind me in 5 minutes to add sugar to it and start drinking that. So, as director, what do you do here at the Space Center specifically?
Defend peace across the galaxy and promote space development in this country. No matter what obstacles stand in our way, we keep going for the sake of mankind.
Whoops. I believe I used the word specifically in my question.
Attention all personnel. Your break stations, prepare for break.
Oh, I get it. You just wander around and tell people what to do in a self-important manner.
That's exactly right. Because I'm an important man. My manner is important.
Mr. Wright, this man doesn't get sarcasm.
Well, there's bound to be some people like that here in the boundlessness of space.
What's that? Want to know what it is that makes me important specifically? Very well, I'll tell you. I was the central figure of the Hat 1 project. You may proceed to be appropriately impressed. Now go ahead, have at it.
Why do you have a Mario star on your shirt? I might be more impressed if I knew what he did for it, specifically. Could you tell us what you knew about the incidents from the other day?
I refuse.
What?
Explaining is a job for common folk, not the director for the center of the cosmos. My testimony, which will go down in space history, will be heard in the courtroom.
What? So, does that mean you'll be taking the stand tomorrow?
That is correct. I'll be the most glorious witness in the history of mankind.
I'm not sure he really understands what being a witness is all about.
Looks like Director Cosmos is the type that only talks about what he wants to talk about.
And let's at least try to ask him about the things he might be willing to open up about. The Hat 1 was a rocket that launched into space 7 years ago, correct? Despite numerous problems, it somehow made its way back home.
I suppose it is part of my job to educate ignorant young folk like you. Very well, I will impart to you the complete history of the Hat 1 project.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hat 1's noble mission was to collect samples from an asteroid, and Mr. Starbuck was the pilot for that flight. Eventually, the Hat 1 reached its planned orbit, where it launched the Hope probe toward the asteroid belt. There, the Hope probe began its long, lonely journey into the far reaches of space. Then, after a terrifying struggle, Hat 1 returned safely to Earth.
Oh. My pop filter is slipping. Okay, pop filter's going by, I guess. Doesn't want to stick. That's sad. I thought we had figured out something that would work for this, but I guess not. We get half an episode of better sound quality.
That struggle was when the incident known as the Hat 1 miracle occurred, right?
Correct. And it truly was a miracle. Of course, they had to turn the ordeal. Of course, they just had to turn the ordeal into a movie.
I'm gonna adjust my mic a little bit now that I don't have to deal with the pop filter.
As for the Hope probe, it did eventually arrive safely at its destination. Obtained a few samples from the asteroid and returned to Earth but a few days ago.
Hey, Not, how are you doing? We got like 3 more minutes until the tea is ready for me to stick a whole bunch of sugar in it. Very exhausted. So what kind of samples are they? What's in them? Tea redeem waiting room.
The samples are scheduled for analysis in the near future. We haven't had time since they just came back the day before Terran's murder. Regrettably, we've had no time to inspect the samples due to everything that's occurred. But this puts our space development program ahead of other countries by several years.
That's quite impressive. I feel like I'm sitting really far away from my mic. Guess this guy isn't just a loudmouth braggart after all.
The golden age of space development. Our predecessors were successful in bringing a moon rock back. That is the greatest achievement in the history of this space center. The public fell in love with space and all of its glorious potential.
A moon rock, huh? I remember that being big.
Our endeavors with the moon rock live on in our work with those asteroid samples. I want to bestow new hopes and dreams for the future upon mankind once again. That is my mission, as the man who stands at the center of the cosmos.
I hear there's lots of research into moon rocks and stardust from asteroids these days. And they say the results could potentially have a huge impact on all of civilization. It's like we're in a new space race with every other country out there.
What? Bite your tongue. It's not for anything so base as money or politics. It's all for the brilliant future that awaits mankind, and all for my illustrious mission. With the recent budget cuts, my staff tells me finances are tight, but I won't hear it.
Guess even a space program has to watch its budget. Hey, Aprek. I'm doing pretty good. Like, I'm not sick anymore, which is a good start. By the way, you seem awfully knowledgeable about this kind of thing, Athena.
Huh? Oh, well, you know, I thought I'd better brush up for the case.
Is that so?
Well, I'll be on my way. As you can see, I'm very busy and a very important man. Galactic Scooter, fire up main engine, max battle speed, and engage.
That thing is surprisingly fast. I guess we'd better get going too.
You bet. Let's make it so.
Wow. Star Trek reference. Okay. Now I need to doctor my tea for a minute. Today's tea is just basic bitch peppermint tea, because I love me some peppermint tea. Oh shit, I just got tea. That's frustrating. I'm weird though. I make my tea in really like, instead of putting it in like a teacup or anything that would, you know, be reasonable to put tea in. I did not spill my tea. I had the tea steeping off to the side, and I pulled the, like, I set out I bundled up some tissues and stuck the tea bag on top of it, or one of the tea bags. I steep mine with two because I make big mugs of tea instead of cups of tea. And it soaked through immediately. I'm gonna advance like a text box or two to let the music start. So this is where Mr. Terran was murdered.
Yeah, this is the lounge. Let's see that diagram the police made again. Right now, we're in the main building here on the right side, on the 3rd floor. Clay and Mr. Starbuck fled here from Launchpad 1 after the explosion.
You there. No admittance without express permission.
We're Mr. Starbuck's lawyers. We've come to investigate.
Sorry, nobody gets in without permission. Not even the police superintendent. I have Detective Fulbright getting mad at me.
Detective Fulbright's here, huh? You start playing music?
Yeah, he's in the Launchpad 1 corridor. Go get a clearance from him and we'll talk.
Leave it to me. I'm great at getting intel out of Detective Fulbright. Let's see, what trick should I use on him today?
I don't know if I should be grateful or afraid.
So, to get to the Launchpad 1 corridor, we just have to go through that door with the blue rocket on it, I think.
Wait, that door? Looks awfully familiar.
Good eye there, boss. This is the door that Clay and Mr. Starbuck used during their escape from the launch pad.
Ah, that explains it.
The fingerprint system has been deactivated, so I think we can just pass through. Now come on, let's go.
So this is it, huh? This is the corridor the two of them used in their escape.
Yep, this is the only thing connecting Launchpad 1 with the main building.
I see police tape down at the other end. Guess we won't be looking at the launch pad.
After the explosion, this whole corridor must have been filled with smoke.
And the launch pad itself was probably a sea of flames. Must have been pretty scary for him.
Now, where could Detective Fulbright be? Hey, I think that's him over there.
What should I do? Which path is the path of justice?
He seems to be lost. That's funny. This corridor is a straight shot.
Huh? Oh, it's you lore people. Welcome to the Space Center.
And thank you for putting music on, so now I can go and grab sugar. From 2 inches away. I got a nice big, I got a whole ass box of, sugar cubes to myself that I haven't used many of because I haven't had the chance to make tea during stream very much. I like my tea sweet. We'll try that and see if that's enough. You want some tea stirring ASMR? I might need to add more sugar to that.
Enjoying a relaxing day off, are you? Here for a little rocket sightseeing?
We're here to investigate the scene, same as you. Do you have any info to share?
Boss, if he acts so reluctant to give us information, we hit him with the whatever shall we do act. I'm sure he'll fall for it. Got it?
We trying to catch the unruly family dog here or something?
Info on the case, huh? Alright, I'll gladly share some with you.
Huh? What just happened?
Detectives and lawyers, seeking truth and justice side by side. I like it. Just take whatever you want from me. You info bandits, I'm in a generous mood today.
I don't know. There's something weird about Detective Fulbright today.
Well, we need information, so let's run with it.
If you say so.
Detective Fulbright, could you give us permission to investigate the crime scene?
There's an officer on guard and we can't get in. Oh, whatever shall we do?
Well, that's an easy one. I'll let them know over there to let you in. Investigate to your heart's content. Take a week if you need it, a month even. Shall I have some snacks delivered? One of my men gives a mean neck rub.
No, that's okay, but thanks. Definitely not the Fulbright I know.
Detective Fulbright is acting sickeningly sweet. It's kind of gross, actually. Do you think he hit his head or something?
Who knows? Whatever the case, it's making our lives way easier. You were here at the Space Center at the time of the incident. Or incidents, weren't you, Detective?
That's right. I was here on a security assignment.
The police are required to secure rocket launches now. I didn't know that.
Yes, well, you know us. To serve and protect. The explosions occurred while I was here on duty. I started leading the evacuation.
Leaving out a lot of details, but okay. Could you tell us more about what happened?
Of course. A bomb went off in the second floor of the main building. Right after that, the one over in Launchpad 1 also blew sky high. So I immediately instructed the visitors and employees to evacuate to the shelter.
The shelter?
That's right. There's an evacuation shelter in the basement of the Space Center. It's there for accidents and emergencies and the like.
So, where were you when the first bomb went off?
I was on duty on the 4th floor. It was quite the madhouse, I tell you. The elevator wasn't working on account of the explosion. And the stairs on the 2nd floor were destroyed, so we couldn't go that way.
Then, it wasn't possible to get down to the basement shelter.
Oh, we lowered an emergency ladder from the 4th floor window and escaped that way. It was a folding ladder, so it wasn't very stable, but at least it reached the ground. After I secured the ladder, I left to take another look around for any other survivors. Once everyone got out safely, I made my way down too and headed to the shelter.
Wow, what an ordeal. But climbing down an emergency ladder sounds kind of fun.
Thank you for your answers, Detective. They were very helpful.
Just a moment. I have some more information to share with you. But don't tell Prosecutor Blackwell, okay?
Wow, and Prosecutor Blackwell usually has you on a short leash too.
Well, never mind that. Haha. I thought you should know that there was a witness.
could you tell us more about this witness?
Sure thing. Witness was a Space Center employee who was on the 4th floor. While she was climbing down, she looked through a window into the 3rd floor lounge.
So, she was looking into the crime scene from the outside.
That's right. It was just a matter of chance that she saw something important. Not that I know what she saw exactly yet, though.
You don't? But that's the most important thing of all.
Don't you worry, I'll get around to interviewing her soon enough. Should still be somewhere here in the Space Center. You might even run into her.
4th floor employee, huh? Alright, thanks for the info, Detective Fulbright.
Gee, you sure are being cooperative, Detective. A little too cooperative, even.
Yes, well, actually,
Something you can't talk about?
Yes, something like that. Anyway, never mind, don't worry about me. Well, I'll be on my way now.
What was that all about?
Something is definitely going on. I'm gonna get it out of him next time I see him.
Okay. I'm not too sure he'll talk about it, though. Well, we have permission to investigate now. Let's head back to the boarding lounge. Ah, you two. Detective Fulbright's granted you permission to investigate. He also said I should bring you some snacks and give you a neck rub too, if you'd like.
Oh, that's alright, but thank you for the offer.
Well, time to roll up our sleeves and start investigating. Now let's see. Where's that diagram again? So this lounge is on the 3rd floor of the main building. According to Apollo, this is where he believes the third party killed his friend.
Well, let's stop the recap and start looking for traces of this third person, then.
You read my mind, Athena. We'll make that our first priority. There's just one problem, though. This room. It's just so big.
Don't worry, we can use this to help us.
Space Center pamphlet for tourists?
Yep, picked it up at the entrance. The maps inside should come in handy. Let's see. Yep, here it is. A map of the lounge. This is the door we went through to talk to Detective Fulbright.
Oh yeah, that's the door with the fingerprint recognition lock. Well, I guess this map will make things a little easier.
Yeah, no more excuses. Let's track down the third person.
Wait, there's just one more thing. What's that strange creature moving around outside the window?
Oh, boss, it's just a holographic image.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Ew, that's a relief.
There should be a button somewhere in this room to turn the image on and off. That's what it says in the pamphlet anyway.
The only reason you're so eager to start is so you can push that button, isn't it?
And what's wrong with that? Let's just look for the button while we're looking for clues.
Alright, fine. Let's get investigating. First glance, it looks like a peaceful landscape, but then there's that creature.
Didn't the Hope probe go to some planet? Maybe this is what its surface looks like.
I don't know. I think it would have made the news if they discovered a creature like that.
It did make quite a bit of news, though, when the probe came back.
Yeah, but the Hope probe didn't even go to a planet, it went to an asteroid. That's a big rock kind of thing. Even aliens can't live there. No matter how I look at it, all I can think of is torture device. I guess it's a training device for getting used to zero gravity? Uh-oh, Athena has an odd glint in her eye. Is she thinking of trying that thing out? I should try to stop her, but I'm afraid she'll just outmuscle me.
Hey, Mr. Wright, look at that up there.
kind of fragment, stuck in tight. Oh, so that's what the glint was all about.
That color looks familiar. I think it's part of an oxygen tank.
I think you're right. If that's here, it means Clay's tank ruptured after they arrived at the boarding lounge.
So Prosecutor Blackquill's theory that Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay down the ladder must be wrong. This proves that both the astronauts were alive when they reached the boarding lounge.
So Apollo was right. The scene of the murder wasn't the launch pad.
Way to go, Apollo.
So it looks like there are 3 doors that lead in and out of this room.
Well, let's check. Ta-da! The Space Center pamphlet. We're here at this place that says Boarding Lounge 1. Here are the 3 doors. Let's call them Lefty, Righty, and Downy.
People usually say west, east, and south in a case like this, you know?
Details, details. Anyway, let's take a look at the west door. That door with the rocket icon leads to Launchpad 1. I know because it says here on the map, Launchpad 1 corridor.
So that's where we were with the detective. It was filled with smoke after the explosion.
Right. Next up, the right-hand side of the map, or east in your world. That's the door with the satellite dish icon to signify communication, aka the control room.
Yep, definitely says control room. Looks like it has another door on the opposite side.
They communicate and exchange information with rockets and probes in space from there. So it's the center of the Space Center. The Space Center, if you will.
Does everyone start to talk like Director Cosmos after they've been here a while?
But it seems like they built a new command center on the 6th floor. That's what they used for the Hat 2 mission. So this control room was empty at the time.
Yeah, I'm doing both of these voices. I've always wanted to see the inside of a mission control room. Since we're here.
I'd love to do that too, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to. They want to keep curious kids like you out. So the door's protected with fingerprint recognition. Only the director can go through.
That much security. I'm definitely not the one we're looking to keep out, Athena.
So apparently the lock is also hooked up to a backup generator, in case of emergencies.
Okay, what about the last door?
This lower door... Oh, excuse me, I mean south door? It leads to the elevators.
This is the door we came through when we entered this room, right?
Yep, and of course there was no fingerprint recognition device, so it's open to anyone.
The elevators weren't working at the time due to the explosion.
Well, that's about it for the 3 muscadors of the boarding lounge.
Thanks. Understanding the layout of the lounge should help us understand the case. That's why I thought we'd better have a good grasp of where all the doors go. These are apparently oxygen capsules. They're for recovery after a training session.
I wonder if they can change your voice. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Huh, didn't do a thing.
It's not helium, Athena. It's oxygen. Some kind of panel with 2 buttons on it here.
Just push it. That's the invariable principle of buttons.
Such things as buttons left unpushed.
Hey, the giant holographic image disappeared.
Yeah. Though that side of the wall seems kind of barren without it now. Still, let's see if we can't find anything new with the image off. That's some pretty futuristic looking furniture over there.
According to the pamphlet, those are no ordinary chairs. They're like amusement park teacup rides. You can power them yourself, it says. If you spin the table, your chair spins too.
Why would anyone want to have something like that here?
It's for astronauts who have trouble with the device on the ceiling. No vertical spins. It says it's a training device that's easy on the eyes and on the body.
Person really calls themselves an astronaut if they can't handle zero-G? The goo sphere. Oh, it's not an observable thing.
Oh, a mirror. How thoughtful of them to put one here.
Thoughtful.
So the ladies can fix their makeup. One's appearance is just as important in space as it is on Earth, you know? You never know when you're going to run into some other life form after all.
I doubt anyone who thinks like that would ever become an astronaut in the first place. Here's another amazing piece of equipment. Walk on the surface of the moon, it says.
Oh boy, I want to try it. Wow, that was not the right voice. Whoops. Gravity's weak on the moon, so I bet I could do mid-air somersaults.
We're still on Earth, remember? Besides, it's connected to the ceiling.
Well, at least I could jump really high.
There's a sign on the wall that very clearly says, "Don't jump too high."
Then what good is this thing?
I didn't say didn't I say in the beginning? Walk on the surface of the moon? Helmet use required. Please use the moonwalk apparatus responsibly.
Hey, I see something shiny down there.
Let's take this cover off then. Is that a bullet?
What's this? It looks like a metal jelly bean.
It's really, really small, but it's a bullet. It's only about 2 to 3 millimeters in diameter. Let's see. I would make the caliber 10?
Caliber refers to the diameter of a gun's barrel, right?
Yes, but I've never heard of a 10 caliber gun before. This bullet must be for a special kind of gun.
I bet if you tried firing a bullet this small with a regular sized gun, it would just fall right out.
Yeah, must have been a really small gun.
I wonder how the bullet ended up here. I mean, we're in the bottom left on the south side, or south door side of the room according to this map. That's pretty far from where Clay's body was. Maybe the police didn't think to look here.
Yeah, leave it to Detective Fulbright to accidentally hand us just the card we need. I'm really sorry if you just got Maddie sipping tea ASMR. What's this? A trapdoor?
It's a trash chute. The cleaning robots throw the garbage out from here.
Robots do the cleaning? What a futuristic world we live in. I just hope they don't revolt like they do in science fiction movies.
No way. All the robots here are very nice. Actually, wasn't there one in the Launchpad 1 corridor? We can go say hi if you want. Hey, Mr. Wright, take a look at this.
Looks like a bullet hole. Great find, Athena.
It's pretty big. Whoever fired this shot must have been using a pretty large gun.
Think so? Based on my experience, I'd say this was fired from a regular pistol.
Well, whatever size it was, somebody fired a gun in here, right?
Apparently. This is an important fact. Do you see a bullet around anywhere?
No, the police might have taken it, though. Let's ask Detective Fulbright about this bullet hole later.
So this is where they discovered Clay.
Yeah, he was already dead when they found him. Let's take a look at the photo.
So he was stretched out like this and... Huh? What's that thing that looks like a thermos?
That's the thing that Prosecutor Blackhole mentioned when I was in court with Apollo. He said that it contains asteroid samples.
Oh, right. Director Cosmos mentioned something about that too, didn't he? They were brought back only 5 days ago by the probe that the Hat 1 launched.
I wonder what they look like. Do you think they'll let us see?
Let's think about that after we've solved the case, okay? So this is the fingerprint recognition device. Guess you put your hand on this hand mark.
Why guess when you can try? Now to line up my hand with the outline.
Don't, Athena. This is a thing related to the case. Get your prints all over that, and the next thing you know, you'll be named a suspect.
How can you be so cruel to a little girl like me?
I'm not buying those tears, Missy.
Let's see. The store is... Where's that pamphlet? Here we are. It's the door to the corridor that leads to Launchpad 1. We went through it earlier when we went to talk to Detective Fulbright.
So I guess the security lock must be disengaged now, right? They say the corridor was filled with smoke at the time of the bombing. This thing beside the door. This must be the fingerprint recognition device.
Which reminds me, I think Prosecutor Blackhole talked about it at the trial.
The notion of a third party in Launchpad 1 is utterly absurd. Just to enter the area from the lounge, one must pass through a door guarded by a fingerprint recognition device. And allow me to state up front that there are precious few with the clearance to do so.
And does this mean the bomber's prints were verified by the system? The number of authorized personnel was supposed to be really small.
Voila! Fingerprint powder. I bought it just in case something like this came up. I found it at the office. I've been just itching for a chance to use it.
Wow, way to think ahead. Now let's dust the fingerprints, or the fingerprint recognition device and see what we can find.
You got it. Now to sprinkle some here and a little over there, and... Let's see what we have here. Oh, we got something. It's only a single set of prints.
Isn't that a good thing? Sure wish we could figure out whose prints these are. Although I doubt we'll be so lucky as to get the culprit's prints on the first try.
Well, I'm willing to bet that Detective Fulbright has some fingerprint data.
Right, and there's security footage of this door too.
Yes, here it is. It came up in court the other day.
I wish we could see the part of the footage just after this bit.
Oh, because that would be right before the murder, wouldn't it? Let's ask the detective. With the mood that he's in, he'll probably show it to us right away.
Yeah, he's in almost too good of a mood today. let's go see if we can find him again once we're done with this room.
I wonder what this big knob is for. It looks like the knob on a stove.
Well, it's the same shape, but I think that's where the similarities end. I mean, it's behind a glass pane. What kind of stove would require knob security like this?
Well, the knob is straight up and down, so if it was for a stove, the burner would be off.
Right, if it was for a stove. Still wonder what it's really for.
Something turned on by a knob that's not a stove. How about a rocket engine?
You had to start the engine here. The rocket would take off before you could even get in.
And I guess all we can say for now is that it's a mystery knob.
Man, I wish I could yoink Ando and have Ando do the Calculester voice. Also, give me a sec. Whoops, I keep normal unmuting when I meant to press the non-beer. I'm back.
Welcome to the Space Center, guests. Welcome.
Yikes! What in the world?
My name is Ponko. P-O-N-C-O. Ponko. Are you sightseeing? Are you lost? Are you looking around? Choose one. I will guide you.
It's a robot?
I am not a robot. I am Ponko. Psychological observation and navigation companion. P-O-N-C-O. Ponko.
Well, I'm glad we got that cleared up.
Oh, Ponko, I've missed you.
Huh? Do you know this thing, Athena? Also, hi Sachi, how are you doing?
Oh, she showed us around the last time when I came here with Apollo. Oh, you're such a good girl, Ponko. That's a good girl. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy, so very happy.
Wow, a guide robot. That's pretty cool. My name is Phoenix Wright. Nice to meet you.
I don't know you. I don't know you.
Huh? Ouch, that hurt.
Oh, she has to register people she meets for the first time. Please register him, Ponko. Certainly. Commencing guest registration. Please tell me your name. A nickname is fine, too. His name is Phoenix.
Mentally shit-fucked from the weekend. Oof. Bit overly familiar, but I'll allow it.
Phoenix, please let me get a good look at your face.
Oh, sure.
Registering. Facial recognition sequence complete. We are now officially friends. Nice to meet you, Phoenix.
Huh. This robot's pretty cute.
You made a friend, boss. Isn't it great? Phoenix, Athena, allow me to guide you. Right this way. Oh, goody. Let's go, boss.
Go where? Oh, wow. What is this place? Is that rocket real?
Welcome, welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Learn about the history of our nation's space development and the Hat 1 project. The rocket is just a replica, but it's the same size as the real one.
I hope I'm doing a good job for this because I haven't had to voice a robot in a long time.
The Space Museum. Oh, here it is on the map.
Okay, so it's on the exact opposite side of the main building from Launchpad 1.
Ask me anything. Anything. I will explain.
Is it bad if we're on game 5 and just realized Nick comes from the Knicks at the end of Phoenix? Maybe a little bit. This is quite the place. I can't believe we get to see a rocket this close up.
This is a replica of the Hat 1 that was launched 7 years ago. It is exactly like the real Hat 1, inside and out. We made it with all of the same defects that were present in the original model. So if this were to be launched, it would crash and burn. Its little brother, the Hat 2, was supposed to launch the other day.
I wonder if Ponko knows why the launch was canceled.
Over there is an exhibit about the launch 7 years ago. Check it out, check it out.
Spacesuits, photos, newspaper articles? I'd like to come here again on a day off. Hey, what's this a photo of? There she is! Ara!
Phoenix. That's the staff of the Hat 1 project.
Oh, there's Mr. Starbuck. Looks so young, so different.
Ah, and that's...
What is it, Athena? Something wrong?
Oh, nothing. I just thought Mr. Starbuck looked really young too. That's all.
What was the most recent robot that I've done? Okay. You say that, but I didn't give Dorothy an actual, like, robotic voice. I didn't try to give Dorothy, like, a robotic inflection to her voice. I gave Dorothy, like, just a normal voice.
I just thought Mr. Starbuck looked really young too. That's all.
Well, it was 7 years ago after all, so the young guy standing next to Mr. Starbuck
Is Clay Terran the victim?
So they were mentor and protege even all the way back then. He's even got one of the staff jackets. He looks just like a regular staff member. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the actual last time that I did a robotic voice for a character was Sagiri from Xenoblade 3. Or I might have done Cosmos robotic as well when I did Xenosaga for a little bit.
No. Clay was still a student then. He just borrowed one of Solomon's old jackets.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. Clay would have still been in high school 7 years ago. Everybody looks so happy. The Space Museum is great. What fantastic exhibits.
This area used to be Launchpad 2. That's why the only entrance is on the 3rd floor.
Wouldn't it be better if they had just made a new ground floor entrance instead?
There was talk of it, but they had to scrap their plans because of budget cuts. Budget cuts, budget cuts. We need more money, money.
Who'd record that kind of information into a guide robot?
While it was in space, the Hat One launched a probe called Hope. The Hope probe collected some samples from an asteroid and returned 5 days ago.
That's what Director Cosmos said too. He told us it came back the day before Clay was killed.
And here it is, the Hope space probe.
I think I've seen that logo somewhere before. Let's see. Oh yeah, the capsule that the victim was carrying. I think it had the same logo. I think it can be seen in the photo attached to the autopsy report. Maybe she'll give me some more info if I show it to her. Punko, do you recognize this capsule here in the top right?
Checking registered data. I know. It's the Hope capsule. It was carried inside the Hope probe.
It contained the asteroid samples, right?
Yes, it was designed to store the samples gathered by the Hope probe. It's been stored in the safe in Launchpad 1 ever since it returned to Earth. It must not be removed. It must not be removed.
Sorry, give me a sec. Throat maintenance.
Don't worry, Punko. The people in charge already know what happened. They do. They do. I must ask them later.
So the capsule is being kept in Launchpad 1, huh? Maybe Clay was trying to carry it to safety after the explosion.
The Space Center staff must have been really excited to finally get the capsule back. But it's a pity this incident occurred just before they got the chance to take a look at the contents.
Sorry. I've got something stuck in my throat, and it's making doing voices hard. But it's not my throat being issues because I'm still sick. I'm not still sick. Well, the police took it as evidence, so they'll have to wait a little longer.
The way the Space Center launch pad is set up is really cool. Would you like me to tell you about it? Would you?
The setup of the launch pad. Go gentle on my spiky-haired mind.
I want to know. Phoenix wants to know too.
Great, now Athena's got a case of punkoitis.
Hooray! I will tell you then. The rocket is built right inside the launch pad structure. When the rocket is complete, it's moved along with the launch pad over the rails. And brought into position at the launch site. Isn't it cool? Isn't it? We used to have a big budget, so that's how we could build it all.
It's very cool. Grand setup that suits an important place like the Space Center. I guess everyone's hoping for a bigger budget next year, myself included.
I'm guessing the whole thing is operated from the control room, huh? That it is, but it can also be operated from new command center too. Either way, the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to first be disengaged.
I guess before a big move like that can be carried out, there is all kinds of procedures. Alright, I keep having a pause. I got turned. Rotated.
I would love to see the launch pad being moved. When's the next one scheduled for? Searching data. All future plans have been put on hold.
Because of the bombing and the murder, I'd bet. Which is perfectly understandable.
Well, when was the last time it was moved? Searching data. I'm sorry. That answer isn't in my answer database.
I guess Ponko can only answer certain questions. Well, we certainly learned a lot about the Space Museum.
Thank you, Ponko. You explained everything very well. I love to explain. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
You two are like old friends. It's hard to believe you just met recently.
It's because Ponko's so friendly.
Well, what should we investigate next?
Let's go find Detective Fulbright. We have things to ask him about.
Let's see, the security footage and the fingerprint data, was it? Okay, then let's go back to Launchpad 1, or the Launchpad 1 corridor.
Bye, Ponko. See you later. Come again, come again. And don't forget to visit the gift shop.
Or Ponko. What a Dickensian life we are all forced to lead. Wow, that is one hell of a... Dickensian is a word I haven't seen in a long time. What should I do? Which path is the path of justice?
There's Detective Fulbright. He still seems to be lost, even though it's a straight corridor.
Let's hope he's still in a cooperative mood as well, then.
If he doesn't cooperate, I'll just have to use my powers on him.
Mean that lady in distress bit? We found a bullet hole in the wall at the crime scene. You did? Our team found that too. It was Detective Arm who fired that bullet. Detective Arm? That's right. A warning shot for the defendant. Was it really such a high-threat situation that she needed to do that? I'm afraid I don't know the details. What with the Detective Arm gone and all?
But I thought there were two people who discovered the crime scene together.
I already know Director Cosmos will testify, so tomorrow will be about what he knows. Hey, you're pretty smart. That's exactly what we're planning to serve as the main course. I hope it goes down easy.
Detective, we'd like to run a comparison on some prints we found at the boarding lounge.
Ah, yes. I just happen to have compiled the print data of everyone related to this case. I can always make another copy for myself, so it's all yours. Consider it a gift. This is quite a bit of data.
Well, when I said everyone, I meant it. Prosecutor Blackwell said to dig deep. So that's what I did. It sure took a while, though.
Whoa, he got Apollo's and my prints. He even got prints for all of the robots.
I guess when Blackwell said to dig deep, Fulbright didn't bother to ask how deep.
Ah, Clay's fingerprints are here too.
I personally removed his glove during the investigation. We had to get his fingerprints to confirm his identity, after all.
I still can't believe you took off his glove to get his fingerprints.
Yeah, well, you can't blame me for thinking they're important in this case. There are a lot of doors that require fingerprint verification in the lounge. So depending on whose prints we find, it can completely change the tide for both sides.
Makes sense. After all, the culprit's prints did get them past the fingerprint locks somehow.
Oh, and take this picture. It might come in handy.
Isn't this just a photo of Launchpad 1 door?
Yup, but Prosecutor Blackwell seemed really interested in it for some reason.
Huh? What's so important about this door?
Beats me, but boy could you see the gears in his head go into hyperdrive at it.
Sounds like this is gonna be a major point of contention tomorrow.
Hey, don't forget about the print comparison, boss.
Right, Detective Fulbright, do you think you could run a test for us right now?
You just leave it to me. In justice we trust. Okay, here we go. Well, it looks like it was Mr. Starbuck who opened that security door.
He must have opened it when they went to go board the rocket.
His heart must have been full of hopes and dreams for his space adventure right then.
What were we supposed to present?
Something for the lost and found. I'll be sure to take care of it.
No. This is an important piece of evidence. Brute force. Detective, about the security footage that was taken by the boarding lounge 1 camera.
Oh, that footage? Go ahead and ask me anything you'd like about it.
Is there any way I could see a little more of the part just after this?
Easy as pie. I'd be glad to show you. Here we go.
Huh? Screen went blank.
Yes, apparently the after effects of the explosion damaged the wires. So there's no footage after this point.
Ha 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 ha! Why didn't you just say so from the beginning? Something definitely seems to be up with you, Detective. You're unusually cooperative.
Well, I just figured if we'd work together, we'll get much closer to justice, right?
But it seems like something's really been bothering you. You don't have some ulterior motive, do you?
What? I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do anything like that.
It's been a while. Those are definitely psych locks.
Did you just mouth psyched? Is there something I should be psyched about?
No. Psych lock. It's a system of locks on the secrets in a person's heart. You can see when people are trying to hide those secrets by using the power of this Magatama. Sensing evidence can break those locks and reveal any secrets they're hiding.
Mr. Wright? How much did they blick you out of for that piece of rock? If you've been swindled, I know some lawyers I can introduce you to.
I'm more than capable of representing myself, thank you very much. Isn't that some kind of, It isn't some kind of fraud. It really works. A friend gave it to me a long time ago. But I guess seeing is believing. Allow me to show you. Let's see if presenting the Magatama will reveal it, or shall we?
Take that!
I think you're hiding something, Detective. So why don't you just tell us about it? What to do? Which path is the path of justice? Detective Fulbright is really in agony. I bet this is the issue he's so torn up over. Love. I really understand what's been bothering you, Detective. I truly do. Something happened that goes against your principles, isn't that right? No. I don't know what you're talking about. Until the explosions occurred, everything was just fine. Is that a fact? Yup, peaceful as peaceful can be. Everyone whistling a happy tune as they did their job. You never saw a more relaxed guard detail for a routine rocket launch. I don't think the guard detail was as relaxed as you claim, as long as this exists.
Take that!
There must be something wrong with my sunglasses today. You aren't presenting that to me as evidence, are you?
Is he making fun of me?
It's just as I said. Until the explosions occurred, everything was just fine.
Take that!
Okay, we did actually get everything there. I just wanted to double check that we had seen all the statements that were available. I don't think the guard detail was as relaxed as you claim, as long as this exists. Ow.
Take that!
Before the explosions, what was supposed to happen here was a rocket launch. And yet security was so tight, they even brought in a special task force. I'd hardly describe that as a relaxed guard detail.
Now, hold on just one moment. The entire nation had their eyes on this extremely important rocket launch. That's why I was called in on a special security detail.
As versatile as you are, I can certainly believe that, or as versatile as you are, I can certainly believe that's true. But I say it's very strange that this person would be part of that detail from the outset, Candace.
Take that!
Detective Arm specialized in bomb cases. The fact that she was here on hand means that you people knew there was a possibility that a bombing would occur.
You got me, Mr. Wright. All right, I concede. You win. It's just as you say. A few days before the launch, we were warned about a potential bombing. The plan to launch went ahead in spite of the threat.
But why? What were they planning to do if someone got hurt or killed?
Yeah, I know. The decision to move forward wasn't exactly just, was it?
How was the warning delivered?
By phone and directly to Director Cosmos. But the police department instructed everyone to keep it under wraps. That's a big thing to keep quiet about. No wonder you were so upset. But it's not only that. I've been distraught about Prosecutor Blackwell as well.
Prosecutor Blackwell? Well, as his handler, I'm sure you have a lot of difficulties.
That's not it. It's a question of justice. I've been wondering about why he's allowed to stand in court.
Has Athena's backstory been explained? No, not yet.
The reason he's still prosecuting. Detective Fulbright, please tell us everything you know.
Well, talking to you folks about it would definitely be breaking the rules.
Never mind that. What are rules but things to be broken, right?
Well, to tell you the truth, having a prisoner act as a prosecutor is highly irregular.
I think we guessed that much.
So why is it being allowed? I've been wondering and wondering about it.
So you weren't told why either, huh?
No. I guess the order came from pretty high up the ladder.
Yeah, it would have had to have.
But Prosecutor Blackwell told me once. The hunt I've been on for the phantom of 7 years past continues even still.
7 years past.
Phantom, huh? Not one of the friendly variety either, I gather. This phantom of 7 years past. Any idea who or what he was talking about?
Not a clue. But he seems to think that this phantom is behind the whole incident somehow.
Wait a minute. He thinks they may be connected to this case?
Yup. This case has way too many similarities to what happened 7 years ago. For starters, that case happened right here at this very space center, too. And in both incidents, a threat was issued via telephone.
So that's why Prosecutor Blackwell thinks this incident is the work of the Phantom.
Well, that's not the entire reason. I mean, if you want to talk about 7 years ago... That's when Prosecutor Blackwell was found guilty of murder. That messy case is what started the whole dark age of the law. Do you see how this phantom and Prosecutor Blackwell's conviction might be related?
Yeah, I can see why you'd think that. This incident and the Phantom, not to mention Blackwell's past. It's almost inconceivable that they would come to a head here.
This might sound crazy, but Prosecutor Blackwell can't possibly believe Mr. Starbuck is this phantom person, right? I mean, he was acting kind of strange during the last trial and all.
The prosecution appears to be ready as well.
Silence.
Not yet. I'm not quite ready yet. No.
Wow.
No, I doubt he thinks Mr. Starbuck is his phantom. But I do get the feeling that he thinks the defendant has ties to them. Which is why he's acting so impatient. He's got a personal grudge against Mr. Starbuck. And that's not real justice. I've always trusted in Prosecutor Blackwell's judgment until now. But this time, I'm just so overwrought about it all. If he's lost his ability to think rationally, I'm afraid it might lead to a false conviction.
I've never seen Detective Fulbright so tormented. This must be why he's been so cooperative. Don't worry, that's exactly what we defense lawyers are working to prevent.
I feel bad for Prosecutor Blackwell. I'm going to be rooting for your team this time. But don't tell him that. You have to promise me you won't.
Detective Fulbright, guess I was wrong about you.
I swore to reform Prosecutor Blackwell and make him a valued member of society again. I can't just sit by and watch him give in to his emotions and tear the defendant apart. You're the only ones who can stop him in court.
You really care about, or you really care and want what's best for Prosecutor Blackwell, don't you, Detective?
Leave the courtroom to us. It's not like we want a guilty verdict either.
I was hoping you'd say that. I'm really grateful to the two of you. Now, to show my thanks, I'll give you another bit of information. It's about the eyewitness. I saw her hanging around the Space Center entrance a little while ago.
Really? Then let's go find her, Mr. Wright.
Thanks to you two, I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm going to work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you. In justice we trust. On 3, 1, 2, 3. In justice we trust. Okay, later.
There he goes.
Wait, were we supposed to say in justice we trust back there too?
Let's go see that witness now.
All right, the Space Center entrance it is. But yeah, the only thing we really know about Athena's backstory right now, Banana, is that we know that Athena we know from last case when Blackwell was like trying to pep Athena up when she was having her panic attack. We know that Athena is like, she became a lawyer to try to like save someone, and that's all we know at this point. The witness must be around here somewhere.
Hello, hello.
Uh-oh. Don't tell me the witness is a robot.
Hello, come over here. Hello, hello. Are you sightseeing? Are you lost? Are you... I am Klonko. Shall I guide you? I don't know why, but this robot is kind of freaking me out. Hey, you're not supposed to be wandering around. Again? Ugh, I've had it with you, hunk of junk. Ugh. I'm outside. Am I wandering? When did that happen? Okay, welcome back, hunk of junk. You don't know how close you came. If you didn't snap out of it, I was going to put you on the curb on trash day. Nothing works better than a 42.5 degree karate chop.
That's pretty specific. Excuse me, but are you the one who witnessed the murder? Oh, and I'm Phoenix Wright, the lead attorney for this case. How do you do?
Big shot lawyers, huh? I'm Aura Blackquill. I'm a researcher developing robots here at the Cosmos Space Center.
Blackwell? Could she be?
And this good-for-nothing robot is named Hunk of Junk.
My name isn't Hunk of Junk. My name is Klonko. That's mean, Miss Aura. I'm changing Klonko's voice.
Quit complaining. Your model number is Ponko 2.
Ah, but Miss Aura, everyone calls me Klonko.
Quit your squawking already.
No, what are you doing? No, don't!
There. I bet you won't be talking back now.
Ah, I will obey completely. Yikes, I better watch what wires I cross with this one. Your last name is Blackwell. Do you have a relative in the legal profession? You are correct. Simon Blackwell, who used to be a prosecutor, is...
Shut up. Only speak when I order you to speak. Simon is my little brother. You know him?
Yes, we met him in court a few times, right, Athena?
What a dull creature. Has her switch been turned off?
Athena being shy? This is new.
Oh yeah, I heard he was prosecuting again, despite being a prisoner. Why doesn't he just stick to solving disputes among inmates in prison, right? Hey, what do you think, hunk of junk? Ah! Miss Ara, that hurts. I'm asking you a question. Why don't you answer me, useless hunk of junk?
But Miss Ara, you only told me to speak when you ordered me to speak.
I told you to never talk back to me. You're worth more as scrap.
Robot abuse, hawk attacks. Aquil family life must sure be interesting.
Well, do you have any other questions? Wait, of course you do. You're a lawyer. It's not like I'm on Simon's side or anything. I just want to get this over with.
Also, can I just say, man, I love Aura Blackwell's design. So, you're the person who witnessed the incident.
That's right. I was on the 4th floor of the main building, in the robotics lab. The explosion disabled the elevators. So I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective... like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. But it was such a pain. Why couldn't they have used ladders in the other rooms?
Must have been a very troubling experience. Probably our best to just humor her here.
Then as I passed by the 3rd floor boarding lounge one window on my way down, I saw the crime as it happened. And that's about it.
So you saw the crime as it happened, and that's about it. I see. Wait, what? You saw it being committed. This is no time to just nod and repeat. So you saw the 3rd floor lounge. Very scene of the crime.
That's right. There's a small window on the right-hand side of the room. I looked through that from the outside. The room was pitch black, but I saw a shady figure holding a lighter in their left hand, and a knife in their right.
That must have been the culprit. Did you see who that person was?
Of course not. The power was out on that floor then, and there was only that tiny window.
I see. But you did witness the moment of the murder.
Yes. I saw the figure with the lighter raise their knife and... It happened at precisely 10 a.m.
Did you witness anything else? Did the killer have any distinguishing features?
I already told you. It was pitch black in there. Although... I did notice the lighter the person had in their left hand had a pretty ornament on it. It looked like a planet. It was blue, like a little Earth emblem. They had good taste in knickknacks anyway.
An Earth emblem on the lighter. I'd better remember that. Thank you for your statement. We'll definitely prove Mr. Starbuck's innocence with it.
Yeah, right. I won't hold my breath.
Pardon me?
Oh, did I hurt your feelings? Sorry. I just detest lawyers, that's all.
What don't you like about lawyers?
It's just an instinctive dislike. But don't feel bad. I hate prosecutors even more.
That didn't make me feel any better, actually. Why do you hate lawyers so much?
Little thing from my past. The whole legal system is meaningless in the first place.
I certainly don't agree.
I mean, people are imperfect. They lie, they're influenced by silly emotions. You can't expect imperfect creatures to uphold a reasonable system of law. I like robots much better. Even sad sacks like this one. Hey you, look alive here.
Ah, yes, here I go. I'm the ultimate robot with amazing...
Yeah?
All right, that's enough out of you. You're getting a little too carried away.
Ah, huh? What was I doing?
Yep, I like robots much better. At least you can make them any way you want them. Unlike humans with their petty emotions and constant worries. How can you say such things? Feeling emotions, worrying about the things we care about. That's what makes us human. Well, the girl finally talks, and she starts with a speech. That's what makes us human. You mean getting angry and snorting like that? Irrational thought. That's what separates humans from animals. Unfortunately, your reasoning capabilities are more akin to that of a clever little monkey. But that's nothing to be ashamed of. It must be nice to have such a simple mind. Can I punch her, boss?
Get a hold of yourself, Athena.
Humans certainly are absurd. I said you were clever, didn't I? Poor thing. Tell me, with people like you in charge, how can I possibly trust the legal system,
So she distrusts not only lawyers and prosecutors, the whole legal system? What in the world happened to this woman to make her so bitter?
Even if somebody important to me was killed, I would never wish to see their killer brought to trial. Because I'd much rather kill them myself. You can't be serious. That thing you're wearing around your neck. Oh, this?
Around Athena's neck. Does she mean widget?
Oh, I get it. Well, well. Her Royal Highness has returned at last to her castle.
Royal what? She talking about Athena?
By the way, I heard the rumors. Our director's going to be the star witness in court tomorrow, right?
Director Cosmos? Yes, that's right.
You poor things. You'd better be careful. That old man is a big liar and a huge braggart.
What?
He might seem like a bigwig, but the center has all kinds of problems. He has a lot of skeletons in his closet. But it's your problem, so why should I care?
What? That's it? No friendly tips? No good luck, guys? Just splendid.
I'll leave you to your woes. Come on, hunk of junk.
It's sad to me that she doesn't believe in our legal system anymore. She must have had a very bad experience to make her feel that way. Are you alright, Athena? You seem very down.
I just can't believe she said all those things.
Wow, she's really upset. She been trying to not let it show this whole time? Well, I guess it's not all that surprising. You hear about fabricated evidence and false indictments on the news all the time.
You mean that whole Dark Age of the Law nonsense? I'm so sick of hearing about that.
Well, all we can do is believe in what we're doing.
Yeah. You're right, boss. I agree.
Maybe it's time we went back to see Mr. Starbuck.
Good idea. We should tell him about the bullet and Miss Blackwell's statement.
Alright then. Next stop, the detention center. My lawyers are here. It must be bad news. Hey, not necessarily. We found a new witness. A researcher saw the moment of the murder through the lounge window during her escape. Really? You're gonna let me go? Unfortunately, it was dark and she couldn't identify the person. I should have known. My stars never align just right, too.
But we got a lead too, Mr. Starbuck. The murderer had a lighter with an Earth emblem on it.
A lighter with an Earth emblem? Oh!
Did you remember something?
Yep, I sure did. Just a little bit, though. Anything at all would be a help, so please tell us what you remembered. I thought I was unconscious the whole time. But now I remember I woke up for a few brief moments.
That's huge. Do you remember seeing anything?
A lighter. I saw the flame of a lighter floating in the darkness. Good, good. What else did you see? What was nearby? Definitely the boarding lounge. So it must have been after Clay carried me there. In the light from the flame, I saw a dark shadow flickering. A dark shadow. Must have been the third party we've been looking for. Thank you, Mr. Starbuck. You've been more help than you know.
If we can prove there was a third person at the scene, and that they're the real killer, then you'll be cleared of all suspicion.
Key will be whether or not we can identify this third person in court tomorrow. At least we have something to go on now, and that's a big plus. I should probably tidy the evidence up a bit before someone mistakes me for a hoarder.
Now that we have a glimmer of hope, I'm suddenly starving. Why don't we go back to the office and treat ourselves to a big celebration in advance?
Someone who's highly empathetic, you can be surprisingly unsympathetic.
So you found your strategy for tomorrow's trial, huh? Good for you, Daddy.
Well, it's one step forward anyway. Hopefully it'll give us a fighting chance in court. As long as we can find out who this third person is.
Now let's get something to eat. I'm starving. My vote is for Eldoon's noodles. Oh, Apollo!
What are you doing here? I didn't think the clinic was ready to release you yet. My wounds are fine. I'm done laying around.
Apollo, you're supposed to be in bed. Leave the case to us. We'll take it from here.
Thanks, but that's not an option. Not for me. Apollo. You shouldn't underestimate your injuries, Apollo. I don't want you overdoing it. I'm fine. I'm not in pain anymore. Besides, they just gave me an IV at the clinic. IV isn't a cure-all, mummy man. Anyway, just tell me how the case is going. Have you guys made any progress?
A suspicious figure was spotted at the scene. We think they must be the real killer.
Suspicious figure, huh? Right. I thought you'd be happier than that. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm happy. And I fully intend to see Clay's murderer apprehended. Absolutely nothing will get in the way of that.
is your best friend, right, Apollo?
That's right. Best friends since junior high.
Sounds like me and Junie. So, what was Clay like?
Well, he was full of compassion and energy. He had a really loud voice.
If the two of you did voice training together now, I bet you'd break a few windows.
You know, I bet you're right. It seems like only yesterday. Clay was a guy who lived for his dreams. We used to talk about it a lot. He was going to be an astronaut and me a lawyer. We'd talk well into the night, and even then we never grew tired of it. Apollo, about that jacket. Oh, it's Clay's. I knew it. It's a special jacket that was only issued to members of the Hat Project. He's finally able to get one of his own once he was selected for the Hat 2 mission. He always looks so proud wearing it. But just when his dream was finally coming true, I still can't believe it. Damn it, it's not fair! Apollo, I hope you don't try to carry the burden all alone. I guess we're both unlucky. My own debut was a disaster. I guess you're right on some level. That trial a year and a half ago wasn't exactly the smoothest of starts. That was a rough time for me, but Clay refused to let me quit. You're fine, he'd say. Don't give up. It was right during his screening exams, too. He couldn't have become a full-fledged lawyer without him. That "you're fine" of his. It's why I'm still standing here today. You're fine, huh? You're fine and I'm fine were like your catchphrases, weren't they? Something like that. Sure brings back memories. When we were in junior high, Clay's mom passed away in an accident. But he wouldn't show his sadness to anyone. One night, I found him crying all alone in the school courtyard. Mom. Get away, Apollo. Don't come over here. Clay, listen to me. I don't have a mother either. Huh? I always think everyone else has a mom. Why am I the only one? But, you know, when I start to feel that way, I yell at the top of my lungs. I holler, "I'm fine." And you know what? I start to feel like maybe I really will be fine. Apollo Justice is fine. Okay, Clay, now it's your turn. Okay. Terran is fine. There you go. Now we're both fine. We're fine. We're fine. What are you laughing about? See? We're fine. You laughed first. I'm fine. You're fine. We're both fine. Thanks, Apollo. You say it out loud, it really starts to feel real. As long as you don't give up, you can keep on fighting. That's what we believed. Long as you don't give up. Wasn't there somebody else who said something similar? If I give in to my fear... Oh, wait. If I give in to my fear, I'll never find the truth. As long as I don't give up, I can keep up the fight. Clay called Mr. Starbuck his mentor and looked up to him. I wonder if I can be a good role model for my staff like Mr. Starbuck. Sorry, Mr. Wright, but I'll be taking a leave of absence.
What? Wait, what do you mean by a leave?
You're really serious? Can you at least give me a reason why? When I put Clay's jacket on, I swore to him that I would catch his killer myself.
But that's our goal too.
I agree with Athena. We should work together and find the truth. The truth, huh? That's a noble cause. But what if the truth you seek and the truth I seek turn out to be different? I'm not sure I follow. What are you saying, Apollo? I'm going to catch the person responsible for taking my friend's life. In my own way. Take good care of Mr. Starbuck for me. Now, I must be going. Goodbye.
Goodbye? Did he just say goodbye? I sensed a lot of seething anger and hatred coming from him. And also, suspicion. Ugh, he is not walking out on us like this. I'm going to go talk some sense into him.
Hold on, Athena. Apollo can believe what he wants, but I believe he's wrong. Even if we take different paths, the truth we arrive at should be the same. I think the quicker we solve the case, the better it will be for Apollo.
Yeah, you're right, boss.
Alright, that's enough for one day. Make sure you're ready for tomorrow's trial, okay? You were here right now? Apollo would say, I'm fine, everything's fine. I just hope things really do turn out fine tomorrow. And with that, that is going to be where we end for tonight. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Fingers crossed, my voice should be doing all right, because I'm not feeling hurt. Like, my voice isn't feeling hurt after this, which is a good sign. But yeah, we should be streaming more of this tomorrow. Or not tomorrow. Tomorrow is, my day off, right? I'm not crossing wires. Yeah, okay, so if I end up streaming tomorrow, it will not be more of this. It might be, if I end up streaming tomorrow, it'll either be Randomizer, Elden Ring, or, I've been tossing around the idea of playing another Mario 64 hack or a Super Mario World hack, so we will see. But yeah, otherwise, give me just a moment and we will find someone to raid. Oh, I'm going to exit to the main menu so we have some music. Also, y'all wanna see something funny? Did you know that this game has a built-in version of objection.lol? It takes a sec to load. I've been using this for thumbnails, by the way. So yeah, you can like change the characters. You can put the characters in their different outfits. Change what pose that is the wrong. Don't mind me, I went to the wrong thing, but anyway, yeah, you can change the poses and everything. It's really cool. But yeah, otherwise, give me just a moment and we'll find someone to raid. It's also really funny because if you go to the if you try to play the breakdown animations in there, it pops up a warning that's like, hey, this animation is like a full 30 seconds long, and you can't cancel it midway through. Are you sure you want to play this? I think y'all know what time it is. It's time to go poke the turtle. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you here tomorrow for hopefully the continuation of the Cosmic Turnabout. Or not tomorrow, the day after. If I'm streaming tomorrow, it'll be something else. Otherwise, have a good one and take care.